Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Time to be Bold is helping people 55 and older like you with low vision regain your independence. Go to timetobebold.org for a list of services in your state that will give you the tools and support you need to live your bold best life. Go to timetobebold.org today.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione, tracking the potential for some scattered showers and storms as we head into the rest of our Thursday. High temperatures are still going to be on the hot side in the low 90s with feels like values at about 102, so it's still going to be pretty warm. We may see those storm chances, though, continue as we head into tonight.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones currently down 460 points at 40,737. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly. Graham Hill once again producing the show for us. Dennis, you just heard on the Adam Gold Show. That's where he'll be for the rest of the week. And it started, like, I love sports. You know I love sports. That's why I host this show. That's why I host shows in general. That's why I wanted to get into this business. But there is something special about football season, and it's starting to feel like it. We are less than a week away from veterans reporting for the Carolina Panthers. And one of the main reasons for optimism for the Carolina Panthers is very, very simple. It is Dave Canales, the new head coach, has a history of taking quarterbacks who had been written off, of taking quarterbacks who had been forgotten, of taking quarterbacks who've been misused and getting the best out of them. He's done it as part of the staff with Geno Smith, and then last season he did it with Baker Mayfield, which ironically, because Baker Mayfield has a bit of a history with the Panthers, puts Baker as one of the main reasons Dave Canales is the head coach of the Panthers. The fact that the Panthers misused Baker Mayfield has indirectly led to Dave Canales now being the head coach of the Panthers.
Baker Mayfield's long-term plan actually worked out for the Carolina Panthers. Right?
Exactly.
Just had to take some time, just had to take some belief. But here we are, folks.
He's like, look, I'm going to look so bad with the Panthers that nobody's going to think I could be reclaimed as a starting quarterback, $100 million quarterback. I'm going to go to Tampa where I'll link up with a young offensive mind. He'll turn me back into a $100 million quarterback, and that will illuminate who should be the head coach for the Panthers. You're welcome, Panthers.
Illuminate, that's a great word. Yeah, everybody's been waiting on the Matt Rule effect, but really it was the Baker Mayfield effect all along.
It was him leaving and turning around and saying, here you go. Baker was asked about Dave Canales being a head coach and what his impact would be on Bryce Young. As one of the few quarterbacks that's worked with Dave Canales, his opinion should be listened to on this subject. Here's Baker.
Good. He's very relatable, smart guy. He took our receivers coach from Tampa with him to be the OC, Brad Idzik. Really, really good football mind. And I just think those two guys together, around Bryce, is going to be good for him. But Dave's got the definition of an optimist bully. It could be the worst day ever. Everything could be going wrong. And he's sitting there, he's like, guys, I got the next play. And he's got a big old smile on his face. And you're like, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah.
But no, that's literally who he is, day in and day out. And it's honestly refreshing, especially in that industry. It's coaches are always negative, picking apart everything, but he's complete opposite.
First of all, that is great news to hear, because that is one of the things I kind of worried about with Dave Canales. Is he is a relentless optimist where, he looks for the silver lining in the worst situations. It's not like, is the glass half full or half empty? He looks at an empty glass and talks about how excited he is to work to fill it up. And I was worried, what is he going to look like when they lose 3 games in a row? What is he going to look like when he's getting beaten down by an NFL head coaching schedule? Baker Mayfield essentially saying he will not relent. He's going to be an optimist regardless. I like that.
That's all fine and dandy, but I also worried about how far does the optimism go if you find yourself in a similar 0-6 start to the beginning of the season.
I think what Baker's saying is 0-6, and he's going to be like, guys, we got a 7th game. We got an opportunity to end the streak. He's just going to be that guy, which it's better to be that. I want you to be the same in good and bad times. I want you to be equal. But the best part about that quote is Baker was asked, what is Dave Canales going to do for Bryce Young? How is he going to be as a head coach? How is he going to be for Bryce? The best part of that quote is he doesn't go into, play calling strategy or schemes, right? Baker didn't say, he's going to get him working play action. Oh, he's going to simplify the game for him. Quarterbacks are unique. A coach, the best offensive coaches, have to look at their quarterback and figure out what they need. There is no blanket hey, there's no cheat code left down, right up, start select square, and then there's a cheat code. There is none of that. You can't be I always run the ball in the first 2 plays, then I throw a play action, then after that's completed for a first down, I throw a screen, and that doesn't work. Quarterbacks are unique. There isn't a blanket way to get the most out of every quarterback. The thing he did for Geno wasn't what he did for Baker, isn't going to be what he does for Bryce. The reason why I love Andy Reid so much as a coach, the reason why I think he's underrated even as he becomes one of the Mount Rushmore coaches and wins a bunch of Super Bowls, the reason why I love Andy Reid so much is because he's won with Donovan McNabb. He's won with Brett Favre early in his career. He's won with Michael Vick. He's won with Alex Smith. He's won with Patrick Mahomes. When forced to, he's won with Jeff Garcia. He's won with Kevin Kolb. He's looked good with Chad Henne. That is the definition of what I consider a great offensive mind. Right? You can walk into any situation, find what they do best, right? Find what they can do at an elite level and take advantage of that. That comes from your temperament. That comes from your creativity. That comes from your personality. Adaptability, flexibility. Right? As we get closer and closer and closer to Dave Canales' debut as a head coach, and Dave Canales and Bryce Young's debut as a battery, right? As the unit powering the Panthers, it needs to be about Dave Canales taking his relentless optimism. What did Baker call him? An optimist bully.
Yeah, which I've never heard before, but
taking his optimist bully personality and using that to find out what Bryce Young does, what Bryce Young can do, and getting the most out of it.
What's the old saying, adapt or perish? Well, it just sounds like so far in Dave Canales' offensive coordinating career, he has done the best job at adapting to the quarterback that he has to work with, their play style, and surviving for the most part as far as getting and winning seasons.
We should emphasize his offensive assistant career because he only has the 1 year as the offensive coordinator, and that's what he did last year with Baker. But it really is. He's been around, obviously, and we didn't bring up he was obviously a part of coaching staffs that had a lot of success with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, there's not a ton of similarities there, right? The one thing I guess you could say is Russ, Baker, and now Bryce are all not the tallest quarterbacks in the world, not the 6'5", 240 quarterbacks, so maybe that helps a little bit of it, a little bit of crossover. But Bryce is not Baker. Baker is not Russ. None of those three are Geno Smith. You need to be able to find what they do best. So I like that Baker didn't go, like his reaction wasn't immediately like, oh, just can't wait till he gets him in the quick game, right? Can't wait till he gets him on the deep play action, because that might not be Bryce's game.
Or he's in over his head. The positivity is all smoke and mirrors. Like, it sounds. I mean, if I'm just being honest, at least Baker Mayfield's like giving the stamp of like, no, this is what you get with Dave Canales. Like,
I was concerned about exactly what you said, because there is, when somebody is like too happy, I'm going like, what are they hiding?
Especially working underneath David Tepper. Like, yeah, I would, if I was walking around that office, I would just have to be like, holding a smile the entire time.
When it's raining outside and you walk in and someone's like, oh my gosh, it was so fun outside. Did you jump in a puddle? I'm like, oh.
Huh?
What? Like, and then you walk in the next day, it's 110 degrees outside, and they're like, oh my goodness, how awesome is it right now? I left clothes out on the line so they dry in this heat. I'm like, what are you hiding? I got few of those vibes from Dave Canales, but Baker Mayfield saying he's not hiding anything. That's just who he is. He truly is like Pete Carroll, maybe even times 2.
Without the chewing gum.
I don't know. We haven't seen Dave Canales on the sideline as a head coach. Maybe he's working out a deal with Trident right now. Everybody like that sound? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break. We have the 99 questions about the college football season series coming up next. A question that actually led me to admit this. There is one specific way I'm a pretty bad fan. Before we answer how and why that happens, I want to let you know about my friends over at Miller Lending, and of course, that includes my good friend Gordon Miller. They are the home of the no closing cost loan. So when you're looking for your mortgage and you're intimidated by the rates and maybe what the rates are right now, you should still understand that you should not pay closing costs or fees. That way you set yourself up if rates drop in 3 or 4 months, or if they drop in 3 or 4 years, you're set up to refinance with no costs and fees, right? You always think, and it's hard not to because it's called a 30-year mortgage. You think in like, this is my monthly payment every month for the next 30 years. You're trained to think that way. Well, guess what? That's not really the case. The average length of a loan is less than 4 years, and it has been that way for decades, which means on average, within 4 years, you will refinance because rates drop. You will move. You will upsize, downsize, pay it off, right? There's a bunch of different things that change well before the end of that 30 years. So don't think about over the length of your 30-year mortgage. Think about, how can I be best set up to take advantage of a situation that is likely going to change in the next 4 or 5 years? If you're interested, give them a call. Miller Lending and Gordon Miller at 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. When we come back, I explain the one way that I think I'm actually a bad football fan. Stick around.
Hi, this is Renee Chu. The most trusted local news in the Triangle is now on the radio. WREL News Plus. Now get breaking news and severe weather reports on the radio 24 hours a day. Listen on the radio at 96.5 FM in Durham, 99.3 FM in Raleigh, and everywhere in the Triangle at 101.5 HD3.
Planning an engagement? Now's the time. It's Bailey's Fine Jewelry's spectacular Engagement Ring Blowout. 3 days only. Engagement rings, loose diamonds, and wedding bands. Up to 60% off. You'll be blown away by the huge selection of diamond sizes and engagement ring styles near cost, at cost, even below cost. Bailey's Engagement Ring Blowout. July 25th through 27th in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Learn more at BaileyBox.com.
Dauntless Transmissions has been the trusted transmission shop in Raleigh for more than 27 years. The experts at Dauntless Transmission are dauntless when it comes to caring for your vehicle. Whether that means a total transmission rebuild, complex engine or brake service, or just a routine tune-up, your vehicle will be dauntless when they're done with it. Visit DauntlessTransmissions.com. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
Dauntless is currently looking for skilled auto technicians to join the Dauntless team. Visit DauntlessTransmissions.com/careers to apply.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TURN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TURN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Monster Jam. Massive stunts. All-out racing. Crazy skills. Monster Jam. As big as it gets. The fun begins at the pit party, where you can meet the drivers, get autographs, take pictures, and see the trucks up close. Get your $20 pit party pass at monsterjam.com today. Must have valid event ticket to enter pit party. Restrictions may apply. Rules and activities are subject to change. Visit website for event details. Coming to PNC Arena July 27th and 28th.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's time we get to the portion of the show where we ask our latest question in the series of questions, 99 questions about the college football season. Today's question is, which stadium is best in the Triangle? Which stadium is best? And that is, which stadium is best for being conducive to a great game, right? Bring in an atmosphere. Does it get loud? Does it, I don't know if you want to work in like traffic and construction, if you want to work in concessions, like what is the best stadium? And this is where I have to admit, I'm actually kind of a bad fan when it comes to attending games in stadiums. Right? When people get to talk about all the stadiums that they've been in, I really can't compete in those conversations. For most of my early fandom, right, when fandoms are born, I was playing, right? So you can't really make it to many stadiums when you have games every weekend. So I was always watching on TV. I played in some cool stadiums, but I never really got to watch. As a media member, you don't really get the fan experience, right? Even if you go to a stadium, if you're in the media box where you can't cheer, where the food might be free
or stale
or non-existent, or maybe was there at the beginning of the game, but then everybody ate it and you showed up right at kickoff because you were down on the field and then all the food is gone. I'm just saying we can complain.
No, let me call my baby ugly. What am I doing? We live in the best part of the area for college football. We have Bojangles, we have Cookout, we have so many great options for catering at these stadiums. So yeah, North Carolina Duke and NC State, all world-class catering options.
But my point is, like,
Smithfield's barbecue.
We don't sit in like section, or at least I don't sit in like section 213 very often. You know what I mean? I don't have to go wait in line for a hot dog. So that's not really the fan experience. By the way, I think it's less fun. I think it's less fun to do what we do. It's awesome because we get to do it and it's part of our job. But I think it's more fun to be amongst the fans. And then since I've like taken over hosting shows, right, rather than being beat reporter and stuff, a lot of times I think it's easier to pay attention, take notes, not miss anything, see the replays from home. So I don't have a huge array of history with stadiums and, oh, this one's so much better, this one's not. I know some people like ranking them, but I think it's one of my blind spots in college sports.
See, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but Instagram Hill gets it done when he goes to a college football game. I have the radio broadcast in my AirPods. I have the game.
Shebang.
I'm in the press box, so I'm seeing the on-field action, but on my monitor, I also have the Hulu Live broadcast. So like I'm like the replay booth, honestly. I can tell you, I'm over here telling people to the left of me, I think that was definitely out.
I mean but I mean, first of all, I respect all that grind. But even then, like, I don't know if you get the crowd erupting as much, right? Because you got to stay quiet in the press box.
Or you might not even hear it in the press box.
True. Or sometimes this used to happen at Virginia Tech when I covered Virginia Tech. They used to give like the opposing team a box right next to the media room. And I remember they were playing, I think it was Purdue. And Purdue like ran back a kickoff or an interception or something. And it was like the president's box, right? Like Purdue's school president's box. And they went bananas. And because the press box is always quiet, you would just hear them going crazy, which never felt right. But ESPN put out a list of the top 25 stadiums in college football, which is what kind of sparked this question. There was a school from North Carolina on the list, but it's not NC State. It's not UNC. It's not Wallace Wade and Duke. Kid Brewer Stadium made the list at number 23. So I just want to give a shout out to the Mountaineers, one of the top 25 stadiums in college football. And also I want to give a shout out to Graham Hill because you just heard it, right? He's a stadium guy. He'll go, he'll show up, he'll talk. So I'm putting you on the spot here.
Uh-oh.
As somebody that has done more of that recently, Wallace Wade, Carter Finley, Keenan. Personal preference. Give us the Graham Hill ranking.
Man.
Now, this is not, by the way, and this is the way the article was phrased. This is not a mark on, like, which program is more fun, which program is better, which this, which that. It's really just about the stadium. So, like, if you're a fan of a team and you're third here, I think you shouldn't be mad. It's a building, right?
I was just going to say, first things first, yes, shout out to App State. I personally have never been to a game up there in Boone, so maybe that's on my bucket list I need to cross off.
That's an easy one to cross off the bucket list. All the others are far away.
But it says that this is one of the most beautiful scenes in all of college football, and it's hard to disagree with that
it's
with
up
the
there
mountain
in Boone,
scenery.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as just I think I was reading. It's actually funny. There's some guy on Twitter. I can't remember what his name is, but I was watching his clips last night, and he does what's called the walk-in challenge.
Okay.
Where he just tries to he
goes to different stadiums,
yeah.
but he doesn't tell them he's coming. He just tries to find an open gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was at Kid Brew last night. He said that there's only 2 stadiums that he can point to that have that kind of scenic view of all those trees and everything. It's App State and Stanford. So that puts App State in a very notable, prestigious class. Out of the 3 schools in the trial, I'm trying to evade the original questions. I don't want to upset anybody.
I can tell a story though. I played at the University of Delaware. We used to have a gate that was never locked, so we could get into the game field and throw.
Right.
Like quarterbacks and receivers would go in there, and late at night you could turn the lights on and throw. And then one day we showed up and it was locked. And I went to the director of football operations, right? Because I was the quarterback, supposed to be a leader. I was like, "Hey man, any way we could get we get another loophole or another just left open gate so we can get in there and practice?"
Some stadiums are better about it than others. There's one school in the Triangle that, I don't know if I should. Well, yeah, I could say they have security cameras. Keenan Memorial Stadium, their gates are always open.
And
one of my roommates used to go in there and do his homework when he went to school at Carolina.
It's a funny little background. But the director of football operations, who I don't think is there anymore, I won't get him in trouble, just took a key out of his desk and put it on his desk, and then without saying anything, just walked away. I just grabbed the key and walked away quickly. And then for the rest of my time there, I had a key to get into the stadium. And when I left it to a guy that I knew that was on the team. I'm like, "Hey, man, if you're going to work out, here it is."
All right, moment of truth. Wallace Wade Stadium, Carter Finley Stadium, Keenan Memorial Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Wallace Wade Stadium, and the reason
Number
why.
one?
Yeah, I might have gotten spoiled a little bit just because this past year going to my first Duke game.
Was the Clemson game?
No, it was the Notre Dame game. So
Okay.
I got to experience
Another good
college
one.
game day and everything. So that kind of heightens it a little bit. The one caveat is that Wallace Wade has retractable glass that will either lift up or be lowered so that if you want, you can get the stadium atmosphere.
Oh, you're talking about the media.
Yeah, so they can open the press box windows.
I was like, "There's no." My uncle played at Duke, so he's always been kind of Duke, and I just remember him talking about the Wallace Wade Stadium. You walk down. That was
Right.
what I knew about it earlier. Right? It's in a hole.
So that's one thing. And then also they're very generous about letting just media members, even if you're not down there doing photography or video, they'll let you just go on the sidelines.
Most schools allow that if they have space.
Right.
Some schools the fans to the sideline is 2 yards.
Yeah, Carter Finley Stadium doesn't allow it.
And yeah, you just can't. And if you have an old school track around or whatever, then yeah, they let it. All right, so Wallace Wade 1. I'm holding you 2 and 3.
Oh, so I'm doing 1, 2, and 3. All right, 2. I gotta go with NC State.
Okay, Carter.
I gotta say NC State is easy parking. You actually park right in the tailgate lots, and I know some people might be saying, "Is that really that easy parking?" That just kind of helps to me build up the excitement of walking in to the stadium for a big NC State game, especially at night.
That probably would have been the 1 seed, but you going with Wallace Wade, going with your heart.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to throw a little wrench in the system of my rankings, and then Keenan Memorial Stadium number 3. Nothing against Keenan Memorial Stadium. I mean, if anything, I'm a fan of the Tar Heel Blue seating, the Tar Heel Blue outline around the sidelines. It's just their press box needs some
Okay. All right.
some upgrades.
We see what's going on there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was 99 questions about the college football season. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, David Tepper. Everybody knows David Tepper. Everybody thinks David Tepper has done so much harm to the Carolina Panthers. I have one way we might be able to prove it. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
This is not summer vacation. If you're out there reading as much as you possibly can about hockey and the Carolina Hurricanes and whatnot, this and the NHL, this is not summer vacation. There are teams that are having to put their cases together right now to figure out how much they can re-sign players. There are still free agents out there being re-signed.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
The new Bluebell Cookies and Cream Cheesecake is cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Again, cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Buy two.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at Walmart Supercenters and Walmart Neighborhood Markets.
Is your heating and air system ready for hot weather? Call Newcomb & Company today to schedule a routine maintenance and ensure your system is operating at peak performance. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs for HVAC and plumbing work. Newcomb & Company has served the area as a Carrier Factory Authorized dealer for more than 3 generations. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company and Carrier. Your comfort is our business.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money, your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. At this time next week, we'll be starting up the college football season from the ACC football kickoff. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I believe. Adam Gold and The Drive, meaning this show, will be live in Charlotte with insight and interviews thanks to Wilkinson Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC in Sanford. Looking forward to that. Like I said, football season, it's getting here.
I can feel it in my toes. They're tingling.
That's what happens when football gets ready?
Maybe that was a bad choice.
Your toes start tingling?
Body parts. But no, I mean, I could just feel the
What
excitement.
body part starts tingling? Which
Even
would be
worse.
the better one?
I can just feel the excitement starting to build up just from head to toes.
All right.
Or toes to head. I don't know.
Oh, no. Don't. All right. Let's that was a good laugh, but let's move on. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Scott Fitterer was the GM of the Panthers. Pretty maligned by the end of his tenure with Carolina, and it was not a surprise when they decided to move on from Scott Fitterer. He just signed up to be a member of the front office for the Washington Commanders, and while I don't think Fitterer going to Washington is any kind of indictment on the Panthers. Oh, you shouldn't have fired him. Washington wants him. I don't think that's the case. But it did spark something that I think might be the actual number one thing David Tepper has to work on. And he may have gotten it right. He may have gotten it wrong. But I know in the past he's gotten it wrong. Right? He may be getting better. He may be working on it. It may maybe he's been better recently. But if you look around the NFL, there are former employees of the Carolina Panthers all over the place.
Scattered.
And it's from the years where the Panthers were very, very good, right? From the Cam Newton peak years, from the Christian McCaffrey good years. Brandon Beane, the GM of the Buffalo Bills. Joe Shane, the GM of the New York Giants. We've talked about Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney, now Scott Fitterer with Washington. I honestly believe the most important thing an NFL owner does is hire and retain people, right? My college football coach, used to get teased a lot behind his back because we weren't sure how much like actual coaching he did, right? He was more of the CEO style of college football coach, right? Oversaw everything. But the one thing you couldn't really argue was he hired good coordinators, and then he got the heck out of their way, right? There were assistant coaches that were on the University of Delaware football staff when I was there that went on to be the offensive coordinator at Penn State, right? The offensive coordinator at Minnesota. Went on to be a secondaries coach for the Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Went on to be the defensive coordinator at Wake Forest. Went on to be the defensive coordinator at Duke. Right? There was a lot, like he would hire, my head coach would hire guys that knew what they were doing, and then he wouldn't bother like even knowing what was going on. I think that's kind of the best archetype. If you could choose, like if your favorite NFL team, if the Panthers were up for sale, and you got to pick not like the person that became your new owner, but you could pick their ownership style, I think that's what I would want. I would want somebody that takes enormous care in choosing who to hire for positions like GM, senior vice presidents, head coach, takes enormous care in hiring those guys or ladies, and then gets out of their way, right? And then trusts them, monitors them, right? You have to know, how confident you are in their job security. You have to know when it's time to make a change if there is, but you also have to know which ones you need to retain. Brandon Beane and Joe Shane, longtime members of the Carolina Panthers front office, probably should have been prioritized over somebody like Scott Fitterer, right? Probably should have been prioritized over somebody like Marty Mayhew or Marty Herney or anyone that ended up in Washington. Rather than letting those guys advance their careers by job hopping and going elsewhere, probably should have cleared a space for them to be upwardly mobile and upwardly paid, right? Paid more so they'd want to stay. Choosing who to retain, choosing who to fight for is important. I was actually just telling the story of one of my friends off air to somebody the other day. I've got a buddy that works in New York City, okay? And he's in the finance world. And call spade a spade, doing well for himself. You know what I mean? making a little bit of coin up there, as so many finance guys and ladies in New York do. But every like couple years, I'll get a text from them that says like, "Hey man, I might be moving down south." And I'm like, "Really? Where?" And it's Charlotte or it's Atlanta or it's somewhere. And all he's saying is he has a job offer from another firm, right? Another fund that's run out of one of these cities. And he's going to go to his job and he's going to say, "Hey, listen, I got this other job. They've already offered it to me. I've interviewed. They like me. And they're offering to pay me X amount more than I'm making right now. If you want me to stay, you have to match." And the reason why he lets me know, like, hey, I might be moving down south is if they call his bluff, he has to be willing to walk, right? So if he's got an offer in Charlotte to make more than he's making in New York City, and he walks in and says, like, hey, I need you to match this or I'm going to bounce, if they go, all right, see ya, he has to be willing to move to Charlotte.
Plan B has to be intact.
He's got to actually do it. So he hey, I might move south. But it's never happened, right? Every time he's walked into his firm or fund or whatever you want to call it, his company in New York City and says, hey, I got this job offer, you have to match it or I'm going to bounce, they've matched it.
Good for him.
And a lot of times they've matched it and a little more because New York City has a higher cost of living than anywhere in the South. And that tells me they recognize he's valuable, right? And it hasn't, all of the pay raises or whatever haven't always come with a promotion, right? It hasn't always been like, actually, we're going to make you senior manager. Like it's just like, hey, more money. Brandon Beane, whenever his tenure with the Panthers was coming to a close and he was going to go take a GM job or he was going to go somewhere else, be an assistant GM, whatever it is, the Panthers should have worked harder to keep him. That's shown, right? He showed up in Buffalo, drafted Josh Allen like right away, and was off to the races.
Right. Hit the ground running.
You have to be able to recognize the ones that are good within your building. Because then, like, I've also seen it this way, where if you pick the wrong ones, you have, like, people that were around for the good times but weren't really contributing to the good times, and that's not a good place to be. The most important thing an NFL owner does is hire and retain the right people. And those are the hard decisions, right? Somebody walks in with it, because the other hard part that a company has to do is somebody walks in with a job offer and says, hey, got this job offer somewhere else. You're either going to match my cash or I'm going to walk. Sometimes you have to make the hard decision that they don't contribute that much to the success of your company and let them walk. And if you're right on that, that's a good business decision too. I think that's more what everybody in Washington is from Carolina. But I look around and, like, it seems like every game I watch, they're like, oh, former Panthers executive, former Panthers coach, former Panthers player, finding success elsewhere. And I'm going like, I think the Panthers chose the wrong ones to keep.
Right. You're like, how did this happen?
Yeah. It's like,
what was said behind closed doors?
Even something as simple as Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
DJ Moore. Did you keep the right players or did you let the right players walk? Or even worse, trade them away for nothing?
Well, Christian McCaffrey, that's a solid yes. Since he was playing in the Super Bowl this past year.
And DJ Moore, who had a good season, is going to be a main contributor to Caleb Williams' offense with Chicago. He was like worth what, 1/8 of Bryce Young? Maybe you kept the wrong one.
Yeah, but what does it say to be a good player on a bad team?
Well, the move didn't make him a good team.
Well, that's also true.
You'd rather have 2 good players on a bad team than have no good players on a bad team. Choosing who to keep is wildly important. And not that easy, but wildly important. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Listen to 99.9 The Fan all weekend long for coverage of the Open Championship. Here is the current leaderboard presented by McConnell Golf. And I believe everybody, since we've started, has gotten off the course. A few guys maybe still out there. Shane Lowry in first, 5 under par. The Irishman in the Open Championship. That's always a cool story. Daniel Brown, relative no-name, in second place at 4 under par. And then Justin Thomas in third, 3 under par. The only one really from the early rounds that's in the top 3. If you listened to the show yesterday, one of the long shots I gave you was Justin Thomas at plus 6,000, and he's right there at the top. So it's probably a little early with it being Thursday to start doing the I told you so's, but
go ahead and take a picture of the leaderboard while you can.
Exactly, and if you did place any money on it, you could probably get a nice cash out right now. Open Championship updates on 99.9 The Fan are teed up by McConnell Golf with 16 top-ranked courses, the best private club value from the mountains to the coast. Justin, you know what? Actually, let's dive into this Justin Thomas thing a little bit more. You know what Justin Thomas did today? He looked comfortable. And that's like when yesterday when I picked the long shots, I picked 3 of them. It was Matthew Fitzpatrick, it was Wyndham Clark, and it was Justin Thomas, who are all plus 6,000. I said, these are big-time players that you can get at long shot odds. The best players have a massive advantage, I would say, on Thursday through Saturday, right? And that massive advantage is they can be relaxed. They've been there before. They've done it. Sunday, as kind of Rory proved at Pinehurst, even the best are going to be tense on Sunday with a major on the line. So, everybody's nervous. But on a Thursday, if you're the guy that's played in 40 straight majors, you're going to be in a little bit more routine. I saw Justin Thomas laughing and smiling today. Right? He was dancing after his he did a little whip nay thing after his round was done. It was cold, windy, right? Everybody's having a miserable time shooting bad scores. He was able to just take it a little bit more comfortably. So that's where I think, that logic comes from. Anytime you see one of the best players in the world, even if they're in the middle of a bad stretch with long shot odds, I'm always tempted because I'm like, they're going to be just so much more loose than so many of these other players.
Meanwhile, the 2 guys that I selected, Tommy Fleetwood is neck and neck with Bryson DeChambeau right now, plus 5. We got a heck of a competition going on there. And then Tony Finau, he's even right now, tied for 18th.
Hey,
so I'll take that.
You'll take even. I believe it's something like the last, 10 or 12 Open. It might even be more than that. It might be ever. But basically, if you're going to win the Open, one of the indicators is you're within 5 strokes of the leader at the end of the first round.
Right.
If you're within 5 strokes of the leader, you can come back. But it's been a very, very long time, if it's ever happened, since somebody's been 6 strokes back of the leader and come back to win the Open. So Tony at 0, Lowry the leader at 5 under. You're just in the mix.
Your picks are looking good. I've ruled out Fleetwood.
You've ruled out Fleetwood. I have Fitzpatrick in the mix from the ones I gave you yesterday, as well as Justin Thomas in the mix. Morikawa, I believe, did not do as well. Yeah, he's plus 2, so not great, but not awful. The course, by the way, is playing tough, so I'll always blame it on the course.
I know. When I first got in this morning and I was sitting here with Paul Ihender as we were prepping for Next Up, which you can listen to 9 to 10 every morning right here on the
There
Fan.
it is.
I was thinking to myself, how cold is it right now? Because I can't remember who it was that was teeing off, but he was like in a full, it almost looked like a wetsuit, and he had a toboggan on. And I was like, well, I know they're overseas, but
it's wet, windy. It's not like bitter cold like the north in North America, but it's wet and windy and I would say very, very chilly.
Right. Well, based off how this golfer was dressed, you would have thought it was 45 degrees, and then they said the temperature was like 50s or 6, like low 60s, and I was like, what? I guess that wind probably carries a little bit.
In the morning, it's gonna be. I'm not standing up for the soft golfer wearing all the winter gear. But as a football player, I'll put it this way. I would rather it be 32 and dry than 48 and wet and windy.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's just a more comfortable spot to be. And I'm assuming golfers are the same way, right? Grip and everything and wind, that's their nemesis.
Sure.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's dive into Jack Drury. Jack Drury signed a 2-year deal with the Carolina Hurricanes yesterday. And I started thinking, and we were talking off air, Graham and I planning the show, and we talked about his future fit. And I had this realization. Jack Drury is the perfect example, like a perfect symbol of how I look at the current roster for the Canes. I am never worried about disaster when Jack Drury is on the ice, right? I'm never worried that he's going to make some ridiculously stupid pass at the blue line and turn it over and lead to a fast break. I'm never worried that he's going to make a stupid penalty and go to the box at a time when you can't. I'm never worried that he's going to do something that's going to make Rod put him in the doghouse. But I'm also, up to this point in his career, I'm never like holding my breath for the spectacular either, right? And I'm going to use the most obvious example of the Canes, but there's better examples that are lesser examples you could use. But like when Aho is circling around with the puck on his stick,
yeah,
there's that like, what's he going to do? And when Jarvis is hanging out on the wing and you see the pass going to him, you're like, right, you get excited. And those are, but it's not fair to compare Jack Drury to Aho or Jarvis. I'm just using that as an example that we've all felt. I get very little of that from Jack Drury.
I mean, heck, just to play devil's advocate a little bit, think about when Marty Necas, after he scored that wraparound goal in the playoffs, it's like every time he went behind the net, or it's like Svetch when you see him start to put the puck up on his stick.
That's the most like, oh my gosh, is he going to do it?
Exactly. Not the best examples as far as comparisons to Jack Drury, who's only played in the NHL for 3 seasons, but he's just not at that point yet where he's not.
He's a similar age to Svetch.
He is a similar age to Svetch, but he's just not at that hold your breath kind of moment player every time he touches the puck.
And by the way, I'm not saying this as a huge demerit or a huge black mark on his record.
Right.
As a fourth line center, if all you can guarantee me is no catastrophes and solid play, and you're going to find the back of the net when it's open, and when there's a wide open player, you're going to find him, and you're not going to do anything stupid, that's a great fourth line center. Most teams' fourth line centers, you're worried when they're out there, right? You're like, I don't know, they're going to get beat. What are they going to do? There's not many teams that can have a worry-free fourth line center. I think that's good for Jack Drury.
Fourth line center that's solid on defense. I mean, his defensive playing abilities are just as
you're not worried about it.
They make up, honestly, for sometimes his lack of scoring in a game.
You're not worried about him ever, which is so nice to say. And for $1.725 million annual average value on a 2-year deal, that's good value.
And that's the thing. There's 2 more seasons for him to prove himself.
But that's what I look at this roster and say, the way they've put it together going into next year. I don't want to be negative towards anyone on the roster because I'm not worried about them, right? You put Gostisbehere with Orlov, that's a great defensive pairing. I'm not worried about that. You put Chatfield and Walker together, not worried. Not worried about any of that, right? I'm looking at the forwards and going, if the second line is Kokiniemi, Necas, and Roslovic, is that what I would have wanted? No. Do I say I'm concerned where the goal is going to come from? Yes, and I am concerned and where the goal is going to come from. But also, you look at, those are 3 serious NHL forwards, right? The thing I'm missing with the Canes is exactly what is I believe, holding Jack Drury as a fourth-line center instead of a second-line center, or the thing that's holding him as a $1.725 million average annual value player rather than a $3.5 million player. The thing that's holding is its ceiling. High floor. The Canes, high floor. Jack Drury, high floor. The ceiling needs to be raised. That's what somebody like Jake Gensel did. Jake Gensel made them I'm not saying 100%, but the potential was so much higher. That's what somebody like Brady Shea did, right? Brady Shea might go on a run where he's going to score 5 goals in 6 games from the blue line, and you're like, that's going to raise the potential. I don't see that as much from Sean Walker, right? It's Jack Drury, to me, is representative of the Carolina Hurricanes roster going into next year. Trip Tracy, one of the voices of the Canes, he's the color commentator, was on Next Up, the show that Graham produces with Paul Ihander hosting every morning from 9 to 10 right here on 99.9 The Fan, every weekday morning. He was asked about the value of Jack Drury signing with the Canes.
I think this is a very, very good signing by the Hurricanes. I mean, the number is a great value, probably such because, had it gone to arbitration, it's the strength probably early in his career fell in the Hurricanes' favor. And, hey, that's the way it should be because, we've seen with all these free agents that were just lost because that pendulum shifts as you approach unrestricted free agency. So I think it's without question going to be an outstanding value deal for the Hurricanes.
It is a good deal, right? Like I want to be clear that the challenge I'm finding with talking about the Hurricanes this offseason is I don't want to be insulting, right? Because they're not deserving of any insults. They're going to be a good team this year, right? I'm very confident they're going to be a postseason team this year. I'm very confident there's going to be stretches where they look really gosh darn good. But at the same time, I think it's worth noting, I don't know if the ceiling is there. Right? At the same time, I think it's worth noting that there's going to be very few times when I'm going how awesome could this team be? Just like when Drury's out there's very few times I'm like, oh, what is he going to do now? I'm going to be like, all right, I know what he's going to do.
Just to be brutally honest here, and this is just my 2 cents, the ceiling is not what it was at the trade deadline last season after
Absolutely
you got
not.
Kuznetsov and Gensel, where, all right, now chips are on the table, Stanley Cup, here we come. If anything, the ceiling is just another, let's just say an Eastern Conference Finals this season.
Yes. I mean, once you get to the playoffs, can technically anything happen?
Anything can happen.
Yes. But I just don't think the percentage chances are going to be lower this year. But also I think adding Gensel and Kuznetsov, that could have blown up in your face. Right, and it kind of did in this postseason, but that could have that lowered your floor, right? Right now, I think they've done very little to lower their floor, but they haven't done darn near anything to raise their ceiling, and that's the struggle I have with talking about the Canes this offseason. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Want to tell you about my friends over at Window Nation. I have no struggle talking about Window Nation because it's easy. When you have proven quality and service and you have thousands of homeowners that have trusted Window Nation for their homes, that's all you have to say. But I'll say it in this way this time. Justin from Window Nation, who, by the way, is unbelievable at answering questions when it comes to windows. Truly a window expert. So don't feel like any question is too foolish or too elementary. He has the answer, but also don't feel like any question is too graduate level, right? He can pepper you back with answers as well as anybody. But he came and gave the demonstration, the free no obligation in-home consultation for me and my wife. And that's where we learned that we could throw a bunch of questions at him about your windows and their windows, right? It's really exciting and really comforting when you talk to somebody that you're going to trust to potentially work on your house, right? Which is most of our biggest investments, most of, where we spend most of our time, protect our family, and you can't stump them, right? Oh, what about this? What about that? What about this material? Why don't you do that? Why don't your windows look like this? Could you do this if we wanted to replace that? Right? You ask every question possible, and it's just calm, right off the recollection, answers. If you're going to trust somebody to work on your house, you want them to know what they're talking about. And Window Nation and Justin, who proved it to us, knows what they're talking about. Right now, what I can talk about is a buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free from Window Nation deal that's going on. Plus, pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. That's buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free. Pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. How's that sound? If you're interested in getting that conversation, having them come to your house for a free no obligation quote, call 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com to schedule now. We're going to take a break. When we come back, football at 4. Who doesn't want the Panthers? What free agent out there better not want the Panthers? I'll tell you next.
Golf's final major will be found on 99.9 The Fan. Listen all week long as we cover the Open Championship from Royal Troon. Find out if Brian Harman can go back-to-back or if a new champion emerges. Depend on us for constant leaderboard updates and every big moment through the presentation of the Claret Jug. Coverage of the Open Championship on 99.9 The Fan is teed up by McConnell Golf with 16 top-ranked courses, the best private club value from the mountains to the coast.
Is foot pain keeping you from living the life you love? Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton with the Good Feet Store, and life is too short to be living with foot, knee, or back pain. When all four arches in your feet are supported, the results can be amazing. Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff.
Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next?
Ballroom dancing.
I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts this weekend. For 3 days only this Friday through Sunday. Get 20% off rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale too. 20% off starts Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com. 3 days only and Sunday.
That'll be 30 even.
That's 90 points! Sorry, that was a lot. Now that I'm getting 3 times the points on food and fuel with the Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card, I get a little too hyped sometimes.
Cool. Would you like your receipt?
In the bag! Sorry, in the bag, please. Learn more about the everyday, everywhere Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet. Choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Let me talk to those of you who are contact lens wearers. Are you tired of wasting time and money every day, putting them in, taking them out, cleaning, ordering new ones, glasses, prescription sunglasses? I could go on and on. Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK are your answers to my question. In just 5 minutes per eye, Dr. Lori can put you on the path to 20/20 vision. Plus, it's totally painless. You can go back to work the next day. And 2 years, 0 interest financing is available. And we're throwing in $1,000 off. Now the hard part. You actually have to pick up the phone. 919-510-6830. Make the call now. The consultation is free. You could go online, traverslasik.com, but you can call 919-510-6830, 919-510-6830. Go to 20/20 vision in less than 10 minutes. Dr. Lori Travers, Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
Third Eye Blind. And Yellow Card. Summer God's Tour 2024 with special guest Arizona Coastal Credit Union Music Park Raleigh, July 21st. Third Eye Blind with Yellow Card and special guest Arizona live in Raleigh. Get tickets now at livenation.com, part of the Mattress Warehouse concert series.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Anthony Baglione, tracking the potential for some scattered showers and storms as we head into the rest of our Thursday. High temperatures are still going to be on the hot side in the low 90s with feels like values at about 102, so it's still going to be pretty warm. We may see those storm chances, though, continue as we head into tonight.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is still down at 53 points at 40,664.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm going to say something that I'm going to have to explain, so give me a minute, okay? Don't jump to any conclusions. Is that fair? Stephon Gilmore better not want to play for the Panthers. He better really not want to play for the Panthers. Let me explain why. He hasn't signed with anyone yet, and we have a statement here that he gave to Josina Anderson that I'll read for you. But for those of you that don't know who Stephon Gilmore is, he's a former Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL, former Panther. He's a cornerback, which is a position of need. He played his college ball at South Carolina. Prior to that, he played his high school football in, I believe, Rock Hill, South Carolina, where he happened at both stops, both in high school and college. He was a teammate of Jadeveon Clowney, who was one of the big free agency signings for the Panthers this year. So he is at a position of need. He has a history with the Panthers. He has a history with one of your best players. And he's a veteran free agent with a history of being good in the NFL that is available. There's the background. Stephon Gilmore told Josina Anderson, there are still some good corners and safeties out there, like Justin Simmons and myself, that are still not signed. Honestly, I'm still being patient and staying ready until teams see what they have in training camp. But you mean to tell me, among 32 teams, that there are 64 starting corners that are better than me? I don't think that. If teams want to win, I think they should sign the best players. I know I'm still a starter in the league. I started games last year, but the season doesn't start until September. We got a while. That's what Stephon Gilmore told Josina Anderson. The reason why I say he better not want to play with the Panthers is because if I learn that the Panthers haven't been pursuing him, I'm going to be upset. If I learn that the Panthers haven't been trying to get him to sign, didn't make an offer, haven't talked to his agent, then we are in for a long run with Dan Morgan and the crew running the Panthers. Right? I hope they reached out. I hope they said, hey, are you interested? We can work on a contract. Let me talk to your representation. And I hope they were rebuffed, and they said, no, he's choosing to wait. He's choosing not to sign because he wants to play for a contender, or because he wants to make more money, or because he thinks there's a better role for him elsewhere after an injury. I hope they were turned down. For all the reasons I said, and then some, right? It is a position of need for the Panthers. It is a premium position just in the NFL, right? Corners are worth a lot. He has the connection to Jadeveon Clowney. He's played for Carolina in the past. And then lastly, he can be a leader. Who do you think is going to have more weight to throw around in the locker room than somebody who's won a Defensive Player of the Year? Who could be a better mentor to J.C. Horn? Who could be a better mentor to Derek Brown? Who could be a better mentor to Bryce Young for things like, hey, here's what elite corners are going to try to do against you. Same with Xavier Legette. Hey, Xavier Legette, let's get together. Let's run one-on-ones during practice. Let's make sure when you're up, I'm up. And that way, when I beat you, I can show you how I did it. And you can be ready for it when some other corner that's good in the NFL tries to use that technique against you later.
I mean, for all we know, Jadeveon Clowney's probably been trying harder to recruit.
I hope so.
Stephon Gilmore than Dan Morgan has.
And well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, if you're the Panthers and you haven't called up Jadeveon and said, like, hey, talk to your boy.
Right.
Then we've got issues. Because the other part of it is the Panthers are not going to be attractive to many free agents.
Nope.
Right? They can go win free agents the traditional way, which is offer the most money, right? Younger free agents often go to the highest bidder because they don't have bleep you money yet, right? They don't have forget you money yet. They want to make sure their kids don't have to pay for their college education. So they're hunting money. The Panthers can get those free agents if they have the highest bid. Now in free agency, you have guys with options. Stephon Gilmore's made money, lots of it, right? And he has the security to wait around for a corner to get hurt if he wants to, or to wait for a Super Bowl contender to call if he wants to. And I'm not gonna disparage him for doing that. But the Panthers do have a couple ins with him, right? He has played there. You brought it up. They can have his high school teammate talk about, hey, let's come light it up like we did in the 4A state regional finals, right? Like they can go way back.
And also going back to that 2021 season when Gilmore did play for the Panthers, he was a Pro Bowler.
Yep.
And proved himself as one of the legit best defensive backs in the league.
And to take it one step further, he's from South Carolina.
That too.
Right? If you want I don't know, aunt and uncle and grandma and grandpa and your old high school friends to be able to come watch you play, well, yeah, you could wait for that offer from the Rams or the Cowboys again or the Chiefs or whatever, but it's going to be a longer drive.
Heck, have Xavier Legette call him and say, look, I know you play on two opposite sides of the
guy.
ball, but yeah, you're from South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina. I'm looking for a role model.
Let's go ride horses.
This might be a little bit of whispering into Xavier Legette's ear on what to say, but anything you can do to get him here.
Or not. I'm just saying, you have an opportunity here, and if you're the Panthers, I keep coming back to this with the Panthers offseason. This has to be the offseason of no stone unturned, right? You cannot leave any change on the table, right? You can't afford it. You can't afford it, right? You can't leave any meat on the bone. You can't afford it. You have to get every last, the people, right? We were actually just having this debate. Somebody showed me a picture in the office the other day of a corn on the cob and said, is this corn on the cob done?
Interesting.
Somebody had eaten the corn on the cob, and to be completely honest, they left too many kernels. It was, you didn't typewriter it enough. Ding, ding. It wasn't a well done, but they had gotten into the debate. We were getting into the debate. I think there's a happy medium, right? Apple cores, corn on the cob, you better get most of it. But if you go back and you're gnawing away, making sure you get every single, it's too much. The Panthers need to do too much.
It's like Dave Canales and Dan Moore have been saying, try to get as many players to align with the alignment.
Yeah, the alignment. We should have trademarked that when they first started saying it. When the Panthers offseason started, there's a certain amount of value they could have gone to get. I believe they've left meat on the bone in the Brian Burns trade, right? I believe they left meat on the bone when they traded up in the second round to go get Jonathan Brooks. These are moments where if you didn't need to get every little bit of value everywhere, those moves are luxuries. I think they misplayed those. I think the Deontay Johnson trade was a squeeze every last value juice out of the orange. I think the A'Shawn Robinson, some of the free agency deals were good ones. I think they need to continue to look for value everywhere they can. This is the part of the corn on the cob where some might say you're done eating, but you can't be. You got to go get the last little bit. Stephon Gilmore could be the last little bit, and I hope they're not letting that one walk away unless Stephon Gilmore simply said, I don't want it, right? No. That's on him. You can't change someone's free will. But if they haven't called, I'm going to be upset. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I want to tell you about my friends over at Capital Financial Advisory Group, and of course, that means Coach Pete. Coach Pete is giving away 10 golden tickets, right? This comes from financial planning. This comes from retirement planning, making sure you have your money at the beginning of retirement, right when you start, and that income does not stop all the way through retirement. Coach Pete is giving away 10 golden tickets to get you some of his best-selling books, plus his box sets that have workbooks and DVDs, as well as a $1,000 valued consultation process that takes the worry out of retirement planning so you can enjoy that peace of mind about your financial future that I was talking about, right? That your money's maximized and that it's not going anywhere. Coach Pete will make sure your plan is reviewed, analyzed, and seal it with the famous Coach Pete stamp of approval. Make sure you get the second opinion you deserve because if things aren't right, it's vital to learn about the issues sooner rather than later when it comes to your retirement. If you want the golden ticket, the best-selling books, the box set, the $1,000 consultation process, all you have to do is call and mention me. So call 800-691-3215. That's 800-691-3215 and say you heard about it from Tim, or you can just text my name, T-I-M, Tim. Just text Tim to 600-700. That's Tim to 600-700. We're going to take a break. When we come back, cons and cons. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about for one of the local teams? Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
While I'm watching Colombia-Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
A horrible, horrible look. But that was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
New $80 million cash blowout and triple red sevens mean new winners. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds winning range from 1 in 4.28 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time. Planning an engagement? Now's the time. It's Bailey's Fine Jewelry's spectacular Engagement Ring Blowout. 3 days only. Engagement rings, loose diamonds, and wedding bands. Up to 60% off. You'll be blown away by the huge selection of diamond sizes and engagement ring styles near cost, at cost, even below cost. Bailey's Engagement Ring Blowout. July 25th through 27th in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Learn more at BaileyBox.com.
The best summer savings for golfers is now at Global Golf in Raleigh. This week only, save up to 60% on all tailor-made pre-owned golf clubs. Global Golf is home to Carolina's largest selection of pre-owned golf gear. Whether you need some new grips, professional lessons, or wanting to trade in your current clubs, swing by Global Golf at 7320 ACC Boulevard. Don't miss amazing summer sales and more at Global Golf, home to the best deals in golf.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's winds blowing across a fruited plain, and also your new fire pit, which subsequently sets your gazebo ablaze. It's hard-hitting football, and an even harder-hitting price estimate from your general contractor. That's a star-spangled bummer. It's
It's also round-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for Cons and Cons. What are you confident in? What are you concerned about when it comes to the Carolina Panthers? This is our last Thursday Cons and Cons. This is our last Thursday confidence and concerns when veterans haven't reported for training camp for the Carolina Panthers. Rookie's already there, I believe. So it's we're getting to the nitty-gritty. So this is kind of an end of the off season prior to getting because guess what we're going to get as soon as the veterans report? So-and-so is looking like the best shape of their lives. Or, look at this. Xavier Legette is running with the 2s instead of the 1s. Like, we're going to get all those little morsels, and it's going to change the way we think about this team. So right now, cons and cons. What are you most confident in? What are you most concerned about the Carolina Panthers before we get any of that season starting Hansel and Gretel clue leaving out of training camp? As always, when someone says, hey, I got good news and bad news, which do you want first? You always take the bad news. So we'll start with concern. Here's my concern with the Panthers, then we'll hear from Graham as well. My concern is defensive depth. There are like 8 of the 11 starters on defense that I just don't think the Panthers can afford to lose for any extended period of time. Right? I think it's obvious if Derek Brown goes down, their whole team kind of shifts. I think it's obvious if J.C. Horn goes down, their whole defense shifts. I think it's obvious Jadeveon Clowney. I think it's obvious A'Shawn Robinson. I think you throw Shaq Thompson in there, maybe Josie, maybe somebody like DJ Wanham, although he's not healthy at the moment. Xavier Woods, I think, is that way. Jordan Fuller might be that way. Like, the hard part about where the Panthers were going into this offseason and where they were was bad, right? They were the worst team in the NFL, is they couldn't worry about depth. They had too many problems in their starters. They had too many problems in their main contributors to worry about stacking depth. So what they are now is, I would say, if you compared starters this year to starters last year, I probably like this team more. I'm a little worried if it like 3 or 4 well-placed or poorly placed, whichever way you look at it, injuries can't really upset what the Panthers have going, especially on defense, where they had to cash in some of their resources on defense to make the offense better. That's scary, scary, scary stuff. So I'm worried about the defensive depth of the Carolina Panthers. What are you concerned about, Graham?
Well, Tim, when doing my show prep today, I was looking up some Carolina Panthers articles, and look at that. Sports Illustrated put out an article addressing Carolina's 6 biggest concerns entering training camp. So I might just pick 1 or 2. The first one, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about when we opened the show. And I think the biggest concern is Bryce Young's development. The other parts matter, but nothing is more important than the development of your quarterback from his rookie season to his second season in the NFL. Can Dave Canales, and this was the $1 million question that we were kind of talking about when we addressed it in the first segment of the show, can Dave Canales get the most out of him like he did with Geno Smith, with Baker Mayfield? We heard from Baker Mayfield earlier about how what you see is what you get as far as Dave Canales is, what do you call it, Bullian optimism?
He was
an optimistic bully.
Yeah, optimist bully or something like that. I have it right here. You keep talking and I'll look.
I'm just fearful that if we see something similar to what we saw last season with an 0-6 start for the Panthers, how much or how far does that optimism go before, I'm not going to say players in the locker room are doubting him, but it's like I said, is it kind of just smoke and mirrors at that point?
He called them the definition of an optimist bully.
Yeah, that.
Which is, Baker, right headlines. The interesting part about that is it's not just about Bryce. Right, Bryce's development is not just about Bryce. Part of it is the guy didn't have anyone open last year, right? Their wide receivers were not very good a season ago. They bring in Deontay Johnson. They bring in Xavier Legette. They still have Adam Thielen. They still have Jonathan Mingo. They bring in Jatavion Sanders. They still have Tommy Tremble. They bring in Jonathan Brooks out of the backfield. Like, part of it is Bryce could look much better this year without actually being better this year.
Right.
We want him to be better, don't get me wrong. He made the same mistake multiple times, a few times, and that's something that'll get coaches tearing their hair out. So I want Bryce to be better individually, but also part of it is stability at play caller, right? You know all year the play calling is going to be done by Dave Canales. It's not going to be Frank Reich, but then Frank Reich gives it to Thomas Brown, but then Frank Reich takes it back from Thomas Brown, then Frank Reich gets fired and it goes back to Thomas Brown, and it's like that's not going to happen. It was actually, speaking of show prep, earlier today, and a point about Dave Canales, I was looking up quarterbacks that Andy Reid had coached.
Yeah.
Because I love Andy Reid's ability to get the most out of his quarterbacks regardless of who those quarterbacks are and their play style. And I stumbled upon an article about Andy Reid and Alex Smith. And I started reading it. And one of the first things Andy Reid said, and this is after Alex Smith started having success in Kansas City, right? He said, well, if you look at the first, 8 years of his career or whatever he had with San Fran, he was like, the guy's had 10 offensive coordinators. Part of the reason why he's playing better for me, this is Andy Reid talking, part of the reason why he's playing better in Kansas City is because he's been in the same offense for 3 consecutive years, and that just makes it easier. Bryce Young's development isn't just tied to Bryce Young getting better. Part of it is about the situation around him getting better.
At one part of the field, or one position on the field, that I'm going to circle to, and that's also kind of a concern of mine, is the tight end production. I mean, Carolina has been searching for answers to the tight end position for a very long time. You've seen kind of a carousel of guys such as Ian Thomas, Tommy Tremble, Hayden Hurst, several others who have not yet come through or failed during their short stint with the organization.
Jatavion Sanders.
The future looks bright with him, though. I will say that.
Was my favorite. It's pretty rare. And I'm not tooting my own horn on this. I'm just saying, it's borderline lucky, but also makes me like the pick even more. It's pretty rare to pick a 4th rounder on the nose. And you can go back and look at our pre-draft coverage. In the 4th round, I said the Panthers should target Jatavion Sanders. And he was a tight end out of Texas. And the reason why was because young quarterbacks love having tight ends they can grow old with. He had an athletic profile that was interesting. I was just a fan of his, and I thought he'd be available in the 4th. The Panthers ended up taking him with the very first pick in the 4th round. So I'm a big fan of Sanders. Tight ends notoriously, if you look at the history, outside of Sam Laporta and Jeremy Shockey, there's really not that many examples of tight ends being great their rookie year. Most tight ends take 2-3 years to figure out what it's like in the NFL. So I wouldn't expect Sanders to be a stud right away, but I think they're okay in that position moving forward.
Well, yeah, on paper, Sanders definitely has the best shot at being a receiving threat on the roster at that position. But as you mentioned, it takes a couple of years. Travis Kelce wasn't Travis Kelce in year 1.
You want to know a fun fact about Tommy Tremble? He's played the same amount of years as Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, who was the 4th overall pick, tight end for the Falcons. Tremble has more touchdowns.
There you go. But yeah, with Sanders, you're going to have to see a lot of film just in the preseason and also just in his rookie season, just how he develops the rest of his game before he becomes a third-2 option on every down kind of player. Also, going back to Tommy Tremble, will he finally have his breakout or his breakthrough this season too? Is another question to keep in mind.
Let's get to the fun part. Let's get to confidence, right? We have concerns we're done with. Let's get to confidence, the other part of cons here. What are you confident in when it comes to the Carolina Panthers this season as the offseason comes to a close? I am confident, and this is a great spot to start your offense. I am confident in their ability to run the football. I'm confident in Dave Canales' commitment to running the football. I thought it was interesting. I was that same interview. It was a podcast, PMT, that Baker Mayfield did where the comments about Bryce Young and Dave Canales came from. I was watching that, and I thought it was ironic because Baker Mayfield was talking about last year, and he just said, oh, gosh, we couldn't run the ball at all last year. And He's not wrong, right? Like some of the advanced analytics didn't love Rachaad White as a runner, but Dave Canales was still so committed to running the ball that Rachaad White had more touches than everyone in the NFL other than Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey was the only player in the NFL that had more touches, other than quarterbacks, obviously, than Rachaad White, carries and receptions combined. So Dave Canales, even with an offense, a running game that Baker Mayfield could offhand in a podcast say, "Oh, we were so bad at running the ball," they still loaded up their running back with touches. I'm confident Dave Canales is going to, whether it's working or not, give the running game every opportunity in Carolina to be good. Then on top of that, you throw in that they spent $153 million over the next 5 years on 2 offensive guards, Robert Hunt for $100 million over 5 years, Damian Lewis for $53 million over 4 years. And you throw on that Ike Ekwonu, for all of his flaws as a pass blocker, is still a pretty good road grader in the run game, right? If you tell Ike Ekwonu at left tackle, go forward and make a hole, he's pretty good at it, right? So you look at what this team has. Then they draft Jonathan Brooks in the second round, and until he's healthy enough to take on the full workload of the backfield, Chuba Hubbard will be there. Miles Sanders will be there. Like I think there's going to be a lot of carries. I think the running game is going to be effective. It might be boring. It might be not the most exciting offense in the world, but like halfback dive, 3 out of 4 plays might end up being a couple drives for the Carolina Panthers, and I'm confident that they'll find some success with it.
On the defensive side of the ball, I'm confident that, and you kind of mentioned it Monday during football at 4C, Tim, I listened to the show.
I appreciate that.
And that is the Carolina Panthers could be a fresh start for a struggling veteran, K'Lavon Chaisson.
K'Lavon Chaisson, yep.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it for the most part. I could tell you weren't confident, so I was
not,
just reinforcing.
I was not confident. I was concerned in my pronunciation of his name.
Think about it like he's chasing the quarterback. K'Lavon Chaisson.
K'Lavon Chaisson.
There you go.
Big things were expected of Chaisson as a number 20 overall selection in the 2020 NFL Draft, and of course, things did not go according to plan, as he only gained just 5 sacks in 4 seasons before the Jaguars went in a different direction. But he's confident that the Panthers can provide him with an environment needed to thrive moving forward. And why wouldn't he be? When you look at Ejiro Evero and his accomplished defensive staff, they can provide Chaisson with a second footing.
Excellently done. Well done.
Okay, you were gritting.
You chose all of the difficult to pronounce names and put them in the same answer, which is just a flex on your part. But no, it's a good point.
Final point. There's also a significant opportunity when you look at the distinct lack of depth within Carolina's edge rushing room.
Yes, I'll agree with that a ton, and that's part of what I was saying on Monday, which is Chaisson is a guy who I think him playing well would be like above expectation, would benefit the Panthers more than just about anybody else playing above expectation, right? The expectation for Derek Brown, Bryce Young, those are already really high, right? So it's going to be hard for them to play above expectation, but for Chaisson, I don't think the expectations are super high. If he can give you 6-7 sacks, which would be about his career total through the first 4 years just this year, if he can do that, I think that's going to benefit the Panthers a boatload.
And to be a part of a Panthers defense that, realistically wasn't all that bad last season. Did enough to keep them in games at least.
At times, yeah. I think part of that is because nobody was afraid of their offense. Like when you're never when you're never ahead in the fourth quarter, which the Panthers were not all year. They did not take a single snap with a lead in the fourth quarter. You don't have teams desperately like chucking it around, trying to pick up chunk yardage, which helps your defensive stats a bit. But you're right. They were much better on defense than they were on offense. Before we get to Storm Tracker, listen to 99.9 The Fan all weekend long for coverage of the Open Championship. Here's the current leaderboard presented by McConnell Golf. Leading the way in a tie, actually, as the relative unknown Daniel Brown has birdied the 16th. He's on 18 as we speak to tie the lead. Daniel Brown, 5 under, tied with Shane Lowry. So you have like a legit superstar golfer, major winner Shane Lowry, and Daniel Brown, who is a relative unknown, plucked from obscurity. Maybe not that dramatic. He's a professional golfer. But he's also tied for first as he is on the 18th as we speak, rounding out the first round. Justin Thomas is alone in third, 3 under par. As we scroll down, look for some other big names. Xander Schauffele, 2 under par, tied for fourth, as is Justin Rose, as is, Adam Scott, 1 under par, tied for 11th, along with Brooks Koepka, Matt Fitzpatrick, Scotty Scheffler are all under par. And that's it. There are only 17 golfers under par right now in the Open after roughly one round, right? As I mentioned, Daniel Brown's still out there on the 18th, so a few guys maybe still have to finish up. But course was the winner today, right? If it's players versus course took round one. And Daniel Brown and Shane Lowry, if it's player versus player, they took round one. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's time for the Storm Tracker. The Storm Tracker is where we look at the rumors, the news, the rumblings around the Carolina Hurricanes and break down their offseason movement. Graham, what rumor are we looking at today?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to do, Tim, is we're going to break down the Carolina Hurricanes offseason movement. I figured since Jack Drury becomes the latest member of Carolina Hurricanes players from last season roster who have been re-signed along with Jalen Chatfield and Jacob Slavin, we still have to address that there's been a lot of changes in Raleigh this offseason as well. So I figured you and me, we sit back and, well, not sit back and relax, but we kind of just look at the additions and subtractions they've made to the roster.
Okay, let's do it.
Of course, the additions. You have forward William Carrier, another forward Tyson Jose, forward Jack Rozovic, defenseman Shane Gostisbehere, and defenseman Sean Walker. Now, of course, you give up a handful of players with forward Jake Gensel, forward Evgeny Kuznetsov more recently, forward Stefan Nason, forward Teuvo Teravainen, and then on the defensive pairs, Dylan Coughlin, Tony DeAngelo, Brett Pesce, and Brady Shea.
The way I look at it, right, kind of in totality, is some of the big swings from last year are gone. Jake Gensel, somebody like Kuznetsov, and I'm not saying even like Kuznetsov, moving on and going to Russia and getting that cap space back could easily come back to be a blessing in disguise, right? Could end up doing more good. But the moves they did, the players they brought in, safe, right? Somebody like Carrier, he's on a 6-year, $12 million deal. If I have that right, I believe that's Carrier, 6-year, $12 million deal. There's so little risk there.
It's a security deposit essentially,
and he's a very solid player. You look at somebody like Sean Walker, who we had on the show, a 5-year, relatively inexpensive deal. You're going to trust him. He's played a lot in the NHL. He's played on different teams. He's played on Philly. He's played on Colorado. There's a certain level of risk taking. That's what this offseason is showing me. I think my personal taste is a little bit more swing for the fences, right? My personal taste is a little bit more if you, how do you say this? If you don't win a Stanley Cup, I'm less excited by consecutive playoff runs. And it seems and by the way, there's more than one way to run a team, right? The Canes this offseason, I think, were very risk averse, right? They didn't take chances on Jake Gensel being one of the few undersized forwards that would age well and would still be worth a bunch of money at age 37, 38. They didn't take that chance. I think I would have. You know what I mean? I think I would have. I was just talking with someone the other day about running backs, right? And they were talking about Saquon Barkley. And this is someone I trust when it comes to football opinions. Played the game at a high level. And they were like, there's so much data out there that after age 27, running backs fall off a cliff. After age 27, injuries happen more, their explosiveness is gone, and their production falls off a cliff. And they just said, but I think Saquon is one of the freaks, and it won't. Right? Because you look at, there are players like Derrick Henry. There are players like Frank Gore. There are players like Adrian Peterson. There are freak of nature athletes that are good into their 30s. And he just was like, if I were a GM, I'd bet on Saquon being one of those guys. I like that way of thinking, where it's like you pick your guys and you take the swing, you bet on them. This offseason for the Canes, if you look at it, there's a lot of hey, let's lay up, right? With the Open Championship going on. Let's take out the 9-iron, hit it short of the water, and then we'll chip up and play for par. I've always been someone that's like, give me the 3-wood. I'm gonna try to clear the water, and we're going for birdie.
Right.
Like that's not a right or a wrong, right? That's not a quality thing. That's a style thing. But hearing you read them back to me like that, right? These names are coming in, these names are going out, and you start to think of why they might be going out and why these players were chosen to come in. I just don't see a lot of risk taking.
Well, I'm certainly not one of those players that's going to try to hit it over the water, but that's just me. But going back to your previous point.
Okay, so then you probably like what the Canes have done this offseason.
Well, I was just speaking about the game of golf in general. But
I thought we were in a metaphor. I thought we were in an analogy.
No, sorry.
You're talking literal.
I didn't mean to
what?
break out of the metaphor. But going back to your previous point about kind of the lack of risk taking that they took with Jake Gensel, and when I heard you say that, it kind of made me think of this question in my head. Does it feel like this whole Jake Gensel and Evgeny Kuznetsov was just a trial and error experiment?
Well, I do think it was a surprise to people that followed the Canes religiously for a long time.
Because don't get me wrong.
That was the move they hadn't made in the past.
Gensel and Kuznetsov did produce in the playoffs, but I don't think they provided the production that a lot of Hurricanes fans were expecting them.
I don't think you can complain about Gensel's production. I think at Kuzi's consistency was left something to be desired. But Gensel was a point per game in the playoffs and more than that in the regular season. I think basically the rest of the team and the goaltender wasn't able to get them over the hump. But I just look at it and I think the Canes seem to be like guaranteeing a par, right? I think that's the best analogy. They're guaranteeing a par. They're guaranteeing a playoff appearance, a 7th straight playoff appearance. When I'd be going like, I think I would risk a 7th straight playoff appearance if it increased my chances of an eagle, right? Of immortality. I feel like we need to get Eric Tulsky, the GM of the Canes, to watch Tin Cup starring Kevin Costner.
Now, I do like the moves they did on defense, bringing in veteran players like Sean Walker and Shane Gostisbehere. Walker, as you mentioned, is solid. He's just had plenty of experience playing the NHL with different teams. And, of course, Gostisbehere can add production on the power play, but whether or not they'll be able to replace the production of just Brady Shea himself remains to be seen.
You are right in what I was talking about earlier. This is why this Canes offseason is so hard to talk about. Because I like all of the moves individually. I like Roslovic. I like Walker. I like I feel like I'm in green eggs and ham. I like it on a box. I like it in a boat. I like it right. I like it wearing a coat. I like all of the moves individually. I think the offseason as a whole is missing something, right? I like Walker. I like Gostisbehere. I said Gostisbehere might be my favorite move of the offseason. I like the Chatty extension. I like that Martinook's coming back. I like it all in a vacuum. But in totality, I think it's missing. Like, where's the big swing, right? That's what I think. It's so hard to talk about it because I don't want to have to do what you were doing, right? Which felt right? Like, oh, no, like the qualifier. But I do like this. But I do like what they did on defense. But I do like what they did here. I got nothing wrong with anything they've done. I have some stuff wrong on what they didn't do.
You just want me to say I like it all.
I like
top
it.
to bottom.
I like it all that they've done. I don't like that they didn't do other things. You know what I mean? Like, that's why it's so hard. I'm like, I understand I sound like a mad scientist right now, and I should have like a whiteboard behind me with 900 like newspaper clippings taped to it and Sharpie marker lines going back and forth. But it's if this offseason had one big swing, had something that I thought raised their ceiling to the point where it's like, hey, a cup just became a real serious possibility, then I would love the offseason as a whole with nothing else changing. But without that big move, it feels like they just were a little too conservative for my taste. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of making a big move, right? Making it that one thing that might be missing. I want to tell you about Fox & Bailey, the watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. You're getting ready for a wedding, right? You're getting ready for a party. You're getting ready for a gala. You're getting ready for an award show. You're getting ready to go out a night on the town, and you're dressed to the nines. You have the jacket. You have the tie. Your date is looking fantastic, and you're looking at it, and you're going, I like all this. I like the suit fit, right? I like the pocket square. I like my haircut. I like my shoes. I like my belt. But it's missing that thing, right? It's missing that one big swing. The timepiece. Well, that's where Fox & Bailey comes into play. We're talking about, I'm going to highlight Norcane right now, one of the brands that they're partnered with, official retailer. And the reason why I'm highlighting Norcane is because if you want to make that big swing, maybe put a pop of color into, like a bright color, into your timepiece, a top-of-the-line Swiss watch movement, automatic mechanical watch, but a little bit of extra pizzazz, something that's going to be that statement piece, that conversation piece. Norcane is doing it maybe as well as anybody in the industry right now. The kind of variety of the looks. They have skeleton backs where you can see all of the mechanism inside the watch doing its thing. You need to see them to really get the vibe of what I'm telling you. So head out to the Fox & Bailey watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location, where they sell the finest watches, obviously, but also hats, electric bikes, men's jewelry, and even records. It's a vintage aesthetic with lots of character. You should go check it out. And when you're there, say you heard about it right here on 99.9 The Fan. Say, Tim told you. Come check out the Norcanes and all of the rest of their timepiece options. Fox & Bailey Watch Shop, Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Village District location in Raleigh. We're going to take a break. When we come back, ESPN put out their best athletes. They revealed it over 4 days. Their best athletes since 2000. I've got some issues. Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
On a day after skis. Did I do it right, Smalls? I'm trying to do it. No, I'm trying to do it right. You got to do it.
It wasn't that bad.
Thank you.
It wasn't that bad.
Skis. Come on, Smalls.
You didn't have to do it twice, though.
Okay.
You did it once. I let you get away with it. I said it was okay. You tried to do it twice. Moderation, Evan.
Skis.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loan, and personal loans. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Longer days mean longer rides. Make sure your bike, your ATV, your side-by-side,
even your golf cart are the best around. From sound station and security, we've got custom stereo systems, custom speakers, even video and LED lighting options for your bike, your ATV, and even your golf cart. Look the coolest on the road or at the lake, just tooling around. All available with installation from Sound Station and Security, with 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
Tim Donnelly here from my friends at Zero Res. And if you're like me, you love to DIY, right? Do it yourself, save the money. I can tell you from experience, they Zero Resified my house, and you can't get it this clean by yourself with the carpet soaking machines or anything else you can rent. Go ahead, give them a call now, 919-995-0000, and ask for the Station Special. That's the $99.9 The Fan Special. Get 3 rooms, Zero Resified, starting at just $109, and get a free hallway done on top of that.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. ESPN is in full ranking season, right? We're getting cornerback rankings. We're getting quarterback rankings. We're getting offensive line rankings. They decided to just skip all the minutia and say best athletes since 2000. Who are the best athletes since 2000? And I was excited because I do this for a living and I'm a nerd like that. So, hey, let's see, right? Earlier in the week, we talked about which athletes with North Carolina ties might be in the list. Debated, would Julius Peppers or Cam Newton make it? Well, there are 4, if you're wondering. Steph Curry, 14. Tim Duncan, 16. Mia Hamm, 64. Steph Curry obviously went to Davidson. Just to give you kind of the breakdown, Tim Duncan went to Wake Forest, Mia Hamm went to UNC, and Chris Paul was number 83. He also went to Wake Forest. And my first thought was some of them got kind of messed over. Some of them, you're telling me Steve Nash should be 30 spots higher than Chris Paul? You're telling me somehow Tim Duncan is 16, but Steph Curry is 14, but Kobe, who has less MVPs than both, has the same amount of championships as Tim Duncan, but Tim Duncan never played with Shaq, gets to be in the top 10?
What was the Dwayne Wade one?
Dwayne Wade is number 35. No disrespect to Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade should not be anywhere near Tim Duncan and Steph Curry in an all-time athletes ranking. Or athletes since 2000 ranking. Dwayne Wade is above Kevin Durant. So I got down into my first thought was...
You got down to the nitty-gritty.
My first thought was, all right, we got to defend some of these North Carolina ties, right? We have to, as a unit, bind together and say, right, it's one of those deals where
it's our due diligence.
It's like, you might have a rival. It's like a sibling thing, right? You might not root for Wake Forest when they're playing against your favorite team, but when it's North Carolina against the world, we bind together, right? And then I just kept looking more and more and more at this list, and I realized this. It's just a bad list. I understand making a list like this is darn near important or darn near impossible, but like Mia Hamm, who, by the way, we're going to have to discuss something after about Mia Hamm. Mia Hamm is the 4th best women's soccer player on the list. I'm not the biggest expert when it comes to soccer, but I'm pretty sure Mia Hamm did about everything you could possibly do. She won everything. She broke all the records. She holds all the records. seems like she should be number one. She's the fourth best women's soccer player. And I was like, all right, we're going to have to defend that. And then I looked at where Chris Paul was in relation to other basketball players, and I'm like, all right, we gotta address that. And then I gave them the nod of this very difficult list. How in the heck do you try to compare David Ortiz, who was just a designated hitter for most of his career, to like a professional skier?
Or the pitcher, who was it that you said? He was very well known for coming in and being a closer.
Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, thank you.
Mariano Rivera is on the list. How do you compare him to Shaq? Right, I think that's very difficult. But I started just comparing people within their own sport, and that's where I came up with the Mia Hamm fact. That's where you recognize that somehow Ichiro is above Barry Bonds, and it's like, what's going on here? And by the way, Barry Bonds, if you want to say he's a cheater and shouldn't be on the list,
right?
Don't put him on the list. I'm fine with that. I have no idea how he ends up 38th, because either you acknowledge what he has done as the records as they stand, and you say he's like top 5, or you say he's a cheater and we're going to knock him for it, in which case you take him out of the list.
It's also like, how do you compare Michael Phelps to
Michael
Tom
Phelps
Brady?
Was number 1, by the way.
And it was number 1?
Michael Phelps was number 1. Tom Brady was below LeBron. Tom Brady was number 5. LeBron 4, Lionel Messi 3, Serena Williams 2, Michael Phelps 1. I actually think that's difficult. Ordering the top 10 is difficult because they're different. But when you start comparing in the same sport, that's when you recognize, okay, like, I'll use this one as an example. I found a good one earlier. They were right next to each other. It involved J.J. Watt. Now I'm not going to be able to find it. This is great. This is great radio. Remember when I listened to Tim scroll? All right, J.J. Watt's number 58. Calvin Johnson's number 57. How in the world do you get Calvin Johnson over J.J. Watt? Shorter career, less accolades, no Offensive Players of the Year for Calvin Johnson. You get 3-time Defensive Player of the Year for J.J. Watt, tied for the most all time. Like what are every record? It's unreal. So instead of nitpicking where the North Carolina connection should be, it's a bad list. You don't complain about bad lists. You just acknowledge it's not worthy and you move on.
I cracked the code. This is just some poor intern that just started his career at ESPN as a writer, and he was given this assignment
hey, go make headlines.
Just to put something out there.
Go make headlines.
Go rustle some feathers.
Put LeBron 4 and Tom Brady 5. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll get to the starting 5 coming up next.
Are you ready?
From 54, snap and hold are good. Kick is on the way, plenty of leg, and it is good!
Over the middle it goes, and he's got Puka Nacua to the 30, to the 20. No one's going to catch him.
Back to throw. Crosby off the edge, and he's got him back at the 23!
Tua back to throw. Deep, down the numbers on the left, and the Cheetahs got it! Touchdown!
The NFL kicks off August 1st on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending and Carey. Date the rate, marry the house, a phrase often used by realtors to describe the difference between keeping your new forever home as opposed to your mortgage rate, which you'll only keep until something better comes along, kind of like speed dating. A recent study by the Wall Street Journal further supports this notion by finding the average life of a loan to be less than 4 years. Their suggestion? Find a no-fee loan, which is exactly what Miller Lending has been telling you since 1996. With no closing costs of any kind, you can simply close on today's rates and refinance each time something better comes along. So while builders promote buy-downs with over $10,000 in closing costs, or lenders advertise crazy low rates with even more, Miller Lending continues to be the leader in the no-cost mortgage. So before you throw away thousands of needless fees, pick up the phone and call your local neighborhood lender, Miller Lending in Cary, 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts this weekend. For 3 days only, this Friday through Sunday, get 20% off rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com. 3 days only and Sunday.
Get ready to be captivated by a gun range like no other. Hey, it's Victoria Vodenecker here for Youngsville Gun Club and Range, the only live-fire digital indoor shooting range on the East Coast. It's open to the public, offers 20 modern shooting lanes, and carries one of the largest selections around. And speaking of the selection, YGC has the hottest firearms to accommodate individual preferences and the best prices in the area. Youngsville Gun Club and Range is conveniently located off US 1 in Youngsville, and for $10 off a range card, use promo code SPORTS. Learn more at ygunrange.com. That's the letter Y, gunrange.com.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
New $80 million cash blowout and triple red sevens mean new winners. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds winning range from 1 in 4.28 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
You were supposed to get a colon cancer screening, but stuff came up.
We did have to pick up the twins from practice.
But on the way, we hit a giant pothole.
If you are 45 and older, don't let butt stuff get in the way of your screening. Visit the Colorectal Cancer Alliance at ccalliance.org.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. We do have active weather in the forecast through the mid-evening hours. Severe thunderstorms, flooding is possible. Tonight's low 74. 50-50 chance for thunderstorms for your Friday. Not quite as hot, 88 the high.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes the day down 553 points at 40,665. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. One more time, I want to remind you that we start up the college football season. Kind of botched this read, huh? We start up the college football season next week from ACC football kickoff. Adam Gold and this show, The Drive, will be live in Charlotte with insight and interviews from the ACC football kickoff. Thanks to Wilkinson Chevrolet, Cadillac Buick GMC, and Sanford. We are already working on setting up interviews and working on making sure we get all as much out of those ACC kickoff days and shows as we possibly can. So that's going to be next week. In the meantime, it's time for the starting five, starting with number 5. The Olympics are getting closer and closer. I think we're less than like 2 weeks to the action getting started. Graham, you pointed this out to me. The Paris mayor has done something to make everybody feel okay about going to the Olympics?
Yeah, so Paris mayor Anne, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name, took a dip in the Sinai River Wednesday, fulfilling a promise to show that the long-polluted waterway was clean enough to host swimming competitions during the 2024 Olympics, as well as part of the opening ceremony, now only 9 days away.
So that's the ultimate, like, before I drink it, you drink it. Like,
Right.
Little deal there. Long polluted? I feel like this happens every time there's an Olympics somewhere. They like finally clean up the city. I'd be kind of mad at the city. I'd be like, wait, you're going to we live here all the time and you were just letting a rotted, infested river happen?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden we got some other countries coming to town, like company. It's like, you know what it is? It's the exact same thing. My house, you got to invite people over like every month or two. Because you get the house clean when company's coming over, right? When it's just you, it's like, meh. Right? The yard, when like we got people coming to stay with us, our yard looks immaculate when they show up. I've done all the weeding. I've done all the landscaping. I've mowed the lawn. If we don't have people coming, maybe I take a weekend off or two. Like,
girlfriend's coming over, dishes put away, clothes put all, clothes off the floor, stuff like that.
Stuffed into a closet with the door shut. Don't go in there. That's what the Olympics are. The Olympics are. Like, the Olympics are coming. We got to clean up that dirty river that's been, I would imagine in Paris it could be, like, polluted for the last 100 years, 200 years.
Here's the thing, though. Daily water quality tests in early June indicated unsafe levels of E. coli, bacteria, followed by recent improvements. So yesterday, and as it says in the article, draped in a wetsuit and goggles,
that's like
Mayor
Thursday
Anne plunged into the river near the imposing looking City Hall, her office, and the Notre Dame Cathedral. So she had the...
It's like your parents are coming over to your first apartment out of college on Saturday, and it's Thursday. It's like, yeah, the tests were bad on Thursday, but don't worry. I'll get it done by Saturday, right? I'll vacuum. I'll wipe down the counters. Like, June was pretty recent, but hey, you still got a little bit of time.
The water is very, very good, a little cool, but not so bad. She also said today it was a dream and a testimony that we have achieved a lot of work. My question is, does she have that dream before or after she got out of the river?
Before the river, I had dreams of a clean river. After, I had dreams that both my feet were watermelon and I couldn't run away. It's like, okay, all right, little bit of a hallucination. By the way, USA men's basketball in a tune-up.
By the way.
Where do we go from there? Talk about, I don't know. USA men's basketball beats Serbia. Was that yesterday? I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I watched the kind of condensed game. Do you know what's happening? And this is scary for the rest of the world if you're trying to win in men's basketball. So the three-point line is not as far in international basketball as it is in the NBA. Steph Curry is getting used to the shorter line. Right? It's obviously going to take him some time because his muscle memory and his depth perception is all locked into the NBA three-point line. It's been that way for, over a decade. Last night, it got to the point where it was like, oh, he can take a step in, and he's getting locked in. And if he's shooting the ball well, I mean, you think about normally he was spacing the floor for like Draymond Green. Now he's going to be spacing the floor for LeBron and Anthony Davis and Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum and Embiid. If he knocks him down like he did against Serbia, it's going to be a problem. And by the way, Serbia played Jokic, so it's like that's a good test.
And I believe they're in the same pool to start off with. In the Paris Olympics.
Okay,
we're the same group.
Yeah, same group for pool play.
Sorry, I got water on my head from the mayor still swimming in the river.
Yeah, what if she went in the water and then just came out and was like, that, like, just couldn't put like words together, like that cold it was to yes. Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say? She's asking, like, does anybody else taste?
Maybe that's why she wore
grass?
The wetsuit, so that way if her hair started falling out, nobody would be able to tell.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be the first one in. If there is a, like, polluted waterway that they tell me is cleaned up, I'm not the first one in. Let everybody else go down to the river for a fun weekend. I'll be the second weekend. Let's see how you guys hold up.
Or it's like in the swimming event, the first time they do it, after they shoot the gun off, it's like a
thing is, if I'm an Olympian, like I worked my entire life to qualify for an open water swim or a kayak or something, I'm not missing that.
You're dodging. You're head first.
You have to go in. You have to, right? Take that chance because it's an Olympic gold. It's immortality.
See, I didn't know if like some people like fake lunge, just like have somebody else go in. That way, if things go bad, you know.
Oh,
all right,
okey doke.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump in on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ha 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 ha! I didn't say 3. Splash. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
We are the 4 horsemen. Woo!
According to the courts in Florida, I believe, there's so many ACC versus somebody lawsuits going on. The ACC is going to have to turn over media contracts to Florida State, to the state of Florida, due to court cases that are going on down there. This is not good for college sports. It's not. There are, and the ACC's argument was that there were proprietary bits of information in there that they didn't, like ESPN and the ACC, didn't want to let Fox see, didn't want to let other conferences stumble into. Now it's going to be public record. It's going to be public knowledge. Those things are going to be out there. This is what we were talking about early this year when we said nobody is going to want to do business. Nobody is going to want to include them in their conference. Nobody is going to want to pay Florida State anything because they are in a partnership with the ACC. They agreed to it. Grant of rights deal, signed, sealed, delivered twice. ACC and Florida State. And Florida State is making the ACC's life living torture. Oh, you want to have that protected? You don't want anybody to see those contracts? We will sue you in court until you have to put them in public record. Does it benefit any of us? No, it's just being a nuisance.
Being a bully.
It's like being a bully, but I'm trying to think of the way to the they're not like the bigger, stronger. They're like picking on people their own size, maybe even picking on bigger people. Like I think of a bully, I think of like the tallest kid on the recess field, right? And you're going around physically beating kids up. They're not winning many. Like Florida State's not winning any fights. I feel like to be a good bully, you have to win the fights. Florida State's not winning the fights. They're just instigating the fights. They're just like, starting the scraps, even if they don't win.
Like, here's the thing. Florida State has access to these documents, but officials must travel to the ACC headquarters to see them. So it's like they got to take a road trip to Charlotte.
They've had access.
They've had access to the documents. They just got to travel up to Charlotte if they want to see them. A policy intended to keep the documents safe for public records requests.
Which goes back to what I was saying. What do you think you're going to find now that it's public? Florida State could already see them, right? Their lawyers could already go down there and read it and look for the loophole and try to find the way out of the ACC. They've found nothing. What do you think you're going to find now? The same thing. The difference is this is exactly what the ACC didn't want to have happen, so that's what Florida State wants to have happen. It's like a annoying little brother or something like that. I want to play with that toy. You didn't want to play with it till I picked it up. You're just doing that to upset me. Yes. Florida State is just doing things to upset the rest of the ACC. And that's not fun. Get him out of here. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
1, 2, 3.
Jack Drury, 2 years. Average annual value, $1.725 million. Back with the Canes as of yesterday after Evgeny Kuznetsov was able to basically tell the Canes, I want out, and they accepted that request.
I'm going back to my home country.
Put him on unconditional waivers with the intent to terminate his contract, which cleared today. So they have terminated his contract. He is now clear to go back to Russia and play hockey for SKA St. Petersburg. Trip Tracy, color commentator for the Canes, was on Next Up, show that Graham, who you're hearing on today's show here, produces, and Paul Ihander hosts. Let's jump to the clip on Jack Drury and Jesperi Kotkaniemi having a healthy competition.
But when I look at Jack and what he's established, and he's had to earn every bit of his very important standing on the Hurricanes, there are a couple of guys that are going to have a very healthy competition in the middle of the ice from that draft. Jack taken by the Hurricanes, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi taken one pick after Svechnikov by the Montreal Canadiens at the time. Who is going to be the guy that earns the trust of the coach, and who is going to be the guy, while there's still that philosophical debate, you get to 24 years old, say, this is what you are. No, I don't think that that's necessarily true. It's, where do you take those next steps? So in a team sport where everybody's pulling on the rope for each other and together for Hurricane success, that's going to be an extremely healthy competition.
It's a really, as he said, healthy competition. If those two are vying for centerman minutes, I think it's more of a stylistic debate. I don't think there's much debate that Jesperi Kotkaniemi is a more physically gifted player, right? He's got the higher pedigree. He was drafted higher. He physically skates a little better.
And
like
his size too.
Size, like just the physical measurables. Jack Drury, though, has proven within the Canes system that he knows where to be. He's going to back check. He's going to
he's willing to put an emphasis on defense more than scoring.
He's going to buy in. It's all there. And it comes back to the debate we were having earlier about the Canes. Feels like everything keeps coming back to the Canes recently, to this. Jesperi Kotkaniemi has the higher ceiling. Jack Drury has the higher floor. Right? Jesperi Kotkaniemi, if things go well, if he develops all of the skills and potential that he has, he'll be the better player. Jack Drury, however, is more likely to be a solid player. Right? If you told me if you had to pick Jesperi Kotkaniemi or Jack Drury to be an all-star this year, both low chances, but if I said you have to pick one, you're going to pick Kotkaniemi. But if I told you you have to pick one of them to be a healthy scratch in next year's postseason, you're probably also picking Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
Yeah.
Right? So Jack Drury is more likely to be solid, but less likely to be spectacular. What does Rod want? Right? And by the way, you can, that's not an insult to Kotkaniemi. He was a healthy scratch at times this past year. That's what it's been. But he also has the physical gifts to, if he, everything suddenly clicks, he could be a top-end guy.
With high production scoring. That's really the one thing he's lacking.
By the way, I think both of those situations are unlikely. I don't think he's likely to be a healthy scratch. I don't think he's likely to be an all-star. But it's if you had to pick one of each, he's the answer for both, right? If you said Jack Drury, Kotkaniemi, who's going to be an all-star? You'd say Kotkaniemi. Jack Drury, Kotkaniemi, who's going to be a healthy scratch next year in the postseason? You'd say Kotkaniemi. Right? So, if they're vying for minutes, that's an interesting battle, right? It's you see, I feel like you see this in basketball a lot. Like one guy can score 50, but he also might go 2 for 25 and score 6. Or you have someone that's going to score between 15 and 22 every night.
Yeah, consistently.
Which one do you want? Well, different coaches probably want different mindsets. One can win you a game. The other won't lose you a game.
But also the coaching style might also contribute to the 50 points scored every once in a while to the 2 and 25 from the field.
Keep calling plays for me, coach. I'm going to keep shooting.
If it's run and gun offense in basketball, live by the 3, die by the 3. You might see a lot more of those numbers.
So in that case, knowing Rod's background, maybe Jack Drury has a little bit of a leg up. Because Rod is somebody that you're going to have to play the entire ice. You're going to have to play defense. You're going to have to avoid the big mistakes. Maybe that's what
20 minutes of ice time each game.
Yep. Just
or more.
Need you there, need you there, need you there. That's number 3. Let's jump to number 2.
Just the two of us
Listen to 99.9 The Fan all weekend long for coverage of the Open Championship. Here's the current leaderboard presented by McConnell Golf. Leading the way, look at this. Daniel Brown birdied 18. So he birdied, look at this. He went bogey-free. Daniel Brown, I do not know who he is. I'm about as big of a golf nerd as there is. I go deep into certain of the fantasy pools and leagues and things I play in. Make me go deep into the hundreds and 200s of the official world golf ranking. So I know most players. Daniel Brown, I don't know very well. He went out this afternoon over there in Scotland, this morning here, and went bogey free, birdied 3, 5, 10, 11, 16, and 18. To post a 65 and have the outright lead after day one at the Open Championship. In second, Shane Lowry, who's much more famous, has won this tournament in the past. He is 5 under in second, and Justin Thomas, the American, the highest scoreboarded American, 3 under, is in third place by himself. What do you think? This is where I love. This is why golf, these opens, where you can qualify and the 1,000th ranked golfer can play against the top ranked golfer. This is why this is such good storytelling. What do you think Daniel Brown is doing tonight? Daniel Brown
is he taking a picture of the leaderboard? Is he having a nice glass of bourbon? What is he doing?
Is he too intense? I got to be asleep at 8:15 because I have a big day tomorrow and I got to eat pasta, so I have the carbohydrates and I'm going to drink nothing but Gatorade because that's what Michael Jordan drinks. How aggressive? Does he even look at his phone? Because he has to play golf tomorrow, and golf is a sport that many say is played over hundreds and hundreds of yards, but it's played between the 6 inches between your ears. Does he even look at his phone? Because I guarantee you, everybody that went to high school with him, everybody that cousins of a nephew's aunt is sending him a text right now or giving him a call, oh my gosh, congratulations, and he's got to think in a 4-day tournament.
Well, you mentioned earlier, and I can't remember who are some of the golfers that you listed off, but you said that some of these guys that are under par currently.
Mm-hmm. I can give you the list.
It all came down to their facial expressions, but go ahead.
Shane Lowry, obviously under par. Justin Thomas. I'm not going to read all of them, but I'll give you some of the bigger names. Justin Rose, 2 under par. Xander Schauffele, 2 under par. Adam Scott, 2 under par. Brooks Koepka, 1 under par. Matt Fitzpatrick, Scotty Scheffler, all 1 under par.
I know it's a cliche, but sometimes you can just tell when these guys are locked in based off their mood and their facial expressions as they're entering the course, as they're on the driving range, the putting greens.
It's why it's brutal to guys like Daniel Brown to make it over 4 days, right? Because if you're a basketball player, you catch fire in the first quarter, you don't really have time to breathe or think or, oh, my gosh, could this make me a bunch of money?
You really don't even want the breaks between the quarters.
Oh, yeah, is my grandma watching? Oh, I hope that girl that dumped me in high school is watching. You don't get to any of that because it's just basketball. Go. First quarter ends. I need some water. Back out there, right? You just get to golf. It's what if between the first and second quarter we gave you 16 hours and you had to go fall asleep, right? You have to think of every insecure moment in your life with your eyes closed, just waiting for the pillow to open.
Or you even watching any of the other rounds?
Do you check the scoreboard? Do you want to know that all those names I just mentioned are within 6 strokes of you?
Is your phone on Do Not Disturb?
I don't think I would check my phone.
Or you not want a text message from Tiger Woods? Or no, that was Rory McIlroy. That.
Yeah. Do you walking up to the range tomorrow? Do you go up to Tiger hey, Tiger? Now I can officially interact with you because I'm the leader. I don't know. It's a wild place to be, and you never see it in other sports. It's not hey, look at this. The indoor football league 4th string quarterback for the Canadian Football League backup quarterback for the Argonauts is ahead of Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes today, and we're going to see if he can beat them. It just doesn't happen. What was that? That was number 2. Let's get to number 1. Baker Mayfield talked about the impact Dave Canales, the brand new head coach for the Panthers, could have on the Panthers and Bryce Young as training camp is around the corner. I said this on the PMT podcast. Here's Baker.
Good. Like, he's very relatable, smart guy. He took our receivers coach from Tampa with him to be the OC, Brad Idzik. Really, really good football mind. And I just think, like, those two guys together, like, around Bryce is going to be good for him. But Dave's got, the definition of an optimist bully. Like, it could be the worst day ever. Everything could be going wrong. And he's sitting there. He's like, guys, I got the next play. And, like, he's got a big old smile on his face. And you're like, this guy's full of shit.
Yeah.
But no, that's literally who he is, day in and day out. And, like, it's honestly refreshing, especially in that industry. It's like coaches are always negative, like picking apart everything. But he's complete opposite.
I like that. I like it for two reasons, and we talked about them earlier, but I'll give you the Cliff Notes version real quickly. One, because I keep hearing that this isn't a front by Dave Canales, right? I'm worried when I see somebody that energetic all the time. I'm like, it can't be genuine, right? If it's this is a wild movie reference, but when Graham's here, the movie references just pop out. Have you seen the movie This Is the End?
Yeah.
There's a point where Jonah Hill, they're playing like Bizarro World versions of themselves, is trying to become friends with Jay Baruchel.
Yep.
And he's just over the top complimenting everything. Because they have like mutual friends, and the friends have told Jonah, like, hey, man, be friends with Jay, right? Like, fix that. You guys need to be buddies. So every time Jay says anything, he's just like, oh, my gosh, Jay, you're so great with the jokes. Your jokes are always the funniest. Man, always so good with the movie references. That's what everybody says about you, Jay. Man, Jay, you're awesome. Do you want a drink? I'll get you. I'll be right back here because I want to spend more. Like, it's so over the top that it's so obviously fake, right? As soon as he walks away, Jay's like, what the heck is Jonah doing? Like, when somebody is so overly optimistic, I kind of get like those, is he being serious? Like, is this for real?
Bryce, you're so great. You played at Alabama. You were the first overall pick.
Dave Canales is literally like, man, I love Carolina. I want to play football right now. Man, the Edgerow is the best defensive coordinator I ever went up against, and I'm just excited for practice, man. And my offensive coordinator wears football cleats so he can run and he can show, and it's, man, this is great, and whoa. And I'm just like, is this real?
Yeah.
But the thing is, the more and more we hear from people that have interacted with Dave Canales in the past, whether it's the coaches that he's brought with him, Brad Idzik, the offensive coordinator, whether it's Baker Mayfield, whether it's those that interacted with him back in Seattle, they all say the same thing. It's not a front. It's not an act. That's just who this dude is.
You brought up a great point earlier, and with all the quarterbacks that he's worked with, he's done a great job of realizing that Baker Mayfield's not Geno Smith, and not just because of size-wise, but just their playing
different
ability.
Styles.
Geno Smith's not Russell Wilson. He's done a good job being able to adapt to his system that he wants to put in place with these quarterbacks and making it work.
Coaches get stuck in their system sometimes because they think they're the genius. They're like, oh, they'll fit into my system. This worked. Like, I think Sean Payton had a little bit of that in Denver.
Sometimes football is just Jimmy and Joe's, not X's and O's.
Where he's like, oh, me and Drew Brees used to do this. And it's like, well, you and Russell Wilson should do something different, right? It's you and who was replacing him late? Was it when they benched Russell Wilson? I forget who they were playing. Stidham or whoever it was. It's like you might need to change up your play calling style for the player. The fact that Baker didn't go like, oh, he's going to be great for him because he's going to, get him running play action. Yeah. It was more like, he's just an optimistic guy. I think that's good for the adapting to what Bryce does well, which is important. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, is ready to play the numbers game. We have Help From My Friends Tour tickets going to the winner. That's Help From My Friends Tour, Summer 2024, with Switchfoot, Blue October, and Matt Nathanson. They're coming to the Red Hat Amphitheater on July 25th. If you want to win a pair of tickets, you have to win the numbers game. If you want to win the numbers game, you have to play the numbers game. If you want to play the numbers game, you have to call in right now. The number to call, 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants, 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
Hey, it's Dennis Cox from my friends over at Loan Pronto. Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. Talking no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for that home improvement project. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
The Adam Gold Show.
While I'm watching Colombia, Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
A horrible, horrible look. But that was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff.
Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next?
Ballroom dancing.
I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s. A shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hot summer days mean time on the water. Let Soundstation and Security make your time even better with our custom boat options. At Soundstation and Security, our Raleigh marine experts can help you for everything with your boat. From the perfect audio system, to lights, to video. We do it all custom, and we do it all from scratch. You're unique. Your boat should be too. Make sure everyone knows where the best party is this summer on the lake with Soundstation and Security. With 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
Batter up. Theater Raleigh presents Bull Durham, a new musical playing Duke University's Reynolds Industries Theater in Durham, September 10th through the 22nd. Based on the classic movie, the film's original screenwriter, Ron Shelton, has adapted the story for the musical, so you can follow Crash Davis's Durham Bull story and his romantic love triangle in a new genre. The perfect blend of comedy, drama, and steamy romance. Get your tickets for Bull Durham, a new musical, today. Details and ticket info at theaterraleigh.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Planning an engagement? Now's the time. It's Bailey's Fine Jewelry's spectacular engagement ring blowout. 3 days only. Engagement rings, loose diamonds, and wedding bands. Up to 60% off. You'll be blown away by the huge selection of diamond sizes and engagement ring styles near cost, at cost, even below cost. Bailey's Engagement Ring Blowout. July 25th through 27th in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Learn more at BaileyBox.com.
Where'd y'all go last week? Well, we've been watching our budget. So no going out? Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's Salt and Lime Brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharkies?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharkies is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharkies. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharkies. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the Mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharkies. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
Hey, Katie. Hi. Let's embark on a performance calibration initiative synthesizing qualitative and quantitative metrics for this past fiscal year.
If Heineken Silver was corporate jargon, it would have all the info you need. None of the annoying gibberish.
What I was trying to say is, you crushed it last year, Katie. Lady, you are getting a big, fat bonus.
Heineken Silver, world-class light beer. Only 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
It's time to play the numbers game here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We actually had somebody drop. This happens occasionally, and that gives one of you an opportunity to sneak into the numbers game at the final second. So we have Donald and Fuquay Varina on line 1. Line 2 is currently open. So call in quick, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. And you might just have a chance to play the game if you can get in quickly while Graham is still able to answer the phone. I'll give you the prize one more time. The Help from My Friends Tour, Summer 2024 with Switchfoot, Blue October, and Matt Nathanson. They are coming to Red Hat Amphitheater on July 25th. Let's start up Donald. Donald, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see if somebody is a worthy opponent and is willing to battle it out with you. But for now, you are the one on the line, which means you get to go first. Are you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. The categories are NFL, the high C's, all players whose first name starts with C. NFL, the Brady Men. These are all players who share a first name with somebody from the Brady Bunch. NBA, current players only, and NHL, Canes and Whalers only.
Let's do NFL high C's.
All right. These are all players whose first name starts with the letter C. And by the way, we did get a second contestant on the line. Justin will be the second contestant, so we will have a competition here. So, Donald, don't take it lightly.
All right.
I'll give you the player and the team. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No, let's do it.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Calvin Johnson, Detroit Lions.
84.
Incorrect. Curtis Martin, New York Jets.
17.
Incorrect. Calvin Johnson, Detroit Lions.
81.
Correct. Clinton Portis, Washington Redskins.
30.
Incorrect. Curtis Martin, New York Jets.
81.
Incorrect. Clinton Portis, Washington Redskins.
28.
Incorrect. Curtis Martin, New York Jets.
24.
Incorrect. You had the right one for the wrong. This happens more often than you think. Calvin Johnson, you got with 81. Curtis Martin wore number 28. You said 28 for Clinton Portis, but Curtis Martin wore number 28. That's been happening a ton recently. And then Clinton Portis with Washington wore number 26. So you were kind of in the right space there with the 28 and 30 guess, but didn't get down to 26.
I appreciate y'all having me, guys.
Okay, but sit on the line. You might still win. There's no guarantees that you've lost yet. So a tie goes to whoever goes first. So if Justin and Raleigh gets one or less, you're the winner, Donald. Let's go to Justin and Raleigh. Justin, are you there? Justin, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. You are thrown right into the fire. Are you ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right. The categories are NFL, the Brady Men, all players who they share a first name with a member of the Brady Bunch. NBA, current players only, or NHL, Canes and Whalers only.
NBA current players.
All right. NBA current players only. The way this works is I will give you the team and the players. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. You need two to win. Does that all make sense?
Yep.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Paolo Banchero, Orlando Magic.
13.
Incorrect. Clint Capella, Atlanta Hawks.
15.
Correct. Julius Randle, New York Knicks.
20.
Incorrect. Paolo Banchero, Orlando Magic.
5.
Correct. Dylan Brooks, Houston Rockets.
00.
Incorrect. Julius Randle, New York Knicks.
31.
Incorrect. Dylan Brooks, Houston Rockets.
Pass.
Cole Anthony, Orlando Magic.
5.
Incorrect on that last one. I'm trying to think of the ones you got here. You got Clint Capella with 15. You got Paolo Banchero with 5. Ironically, Paulo Banchero and Cole Anthony were teammates with the Magic, so they couldn't both be 5. Cole Anthony was close, though. He was 50. So you had the right number. You just need to add a 0 to it.
I was one off with Julius, too.
Yep, Julius is 30. You said 31. Dylan Brooks with Houston wears number 9. So you weren't as close with that one. But you did get 2, and that's all you needed to win. So congratulations, Justin. You got called out of the bullpen, and you got the win.
Hey.
That means you win Help from My Friends Tour tickets, summer 2024, with Switchfoot, Blue October, and Matt Nathanson coming to Red Hat Amphitheater on July 25th. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, sit on the line. Graham has some info he needs to get from you to make sure you get your tickets. Now I feel bad because Donald was ready to leave, and I was like, no, come back. You might win, and he didn't win. And on top of that, I don't know if everyone else notices because I pay so much attention during the numbers game. When somebody gives like the first answer enthusiastically and they're wrong, and I just go incorrect and on to the next, I feel like I take a part of their soul. Calvin Johnson, Detroit Lions, 84. No, incorrect. It's like they're like 84, like so excited. Oh man, that was brutal. Hopefully Donald had fun though. Hopefully he, saw the value in hanging out with us, and we appreciate him for listening. We appreciate all of you for listening, and congratulations one more time to Justin for jumping straight on and winning the game. We're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we have the Panthers fan survey. Whole bunch of you voted on The Athletic about different questions when it comes to the Panthers. We look at what the fans are thinking coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
This is not summer vacation. If you're out there reading as much as you possibly can about hockey and the Carolina Hurricanes and whatnot, this and the NHL, this is not summer vacation. There are teams that are having to put their cases together right now to figure out how much they can re-sign players. There are still free agents out there being re-signed.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Let me talk to those of you who are contact lens wearers. Are you tired of wasting time and money every day, putting them in, taking them out, cleaning, ordering new ones, glasses, prescription sunglasses? I could go on and on. Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK are your answers to my question. In just 5 minutes per eye, Dr. Lori can put you on the path to 20/20 vision. Plus, it's totally painless. You can go back to work the next day. And 2 years, 0 interest financing is available. And we're throwing in $1,000 off. Now the hard part. You actually have to pick up the phone. 919-510-6830. Make the call now. The consultation is free. You could go online, traverslasik.com, but you can call 919-510-6830, 919-510-6830. Go to 20/20 vision in less than 10 minutes. Dr. Lori Travers, Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
That'll be 30 even.
That's 90 points! Sorry, that was a lot. Now that I'm getting 3 times the points on food and fuel with the Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card, I get a little too hyped sometimes.
Cool. Would you like your receipt?
In the bag! Sorry, in the bag, please.
Learn more about the everyday, everywhere Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
College football season is right around the corner, and head coach Mac Brown and the Tar Heels want to see you in Kenan Stadium this fall. Don't miss out on exciting home matchups featuring in-state opponents, including NC State, Wake Forest, NC Central, and the home opener versus Charlotte on September 7th. All ticket options, including full season tickets, the customizable Tar Heel 2-pack, and individual game tickets are on sale now. For more information and to get your Carolina football tickets today, visit GoHeels.com.
Drive into summer with the rugged Honda Ridgeline, Passport, and Pilot. Get outdoors, kick up some dust, get muddy, or just find that perfect campsite. And when you drive a Honda, you're driving with the 2024 Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com Best Value brand. So act now to get a great offer on the Honda you want.
Contact your local Carolina Honda dealer for a great deal today. See dealer for financing details based on 2024 Consumer Choice Awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit kbb.com for more information.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts this weekend. For 3 days only, this Friday through Sunday, get 20% off rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale too. 20% off starts Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com. 3 days only and Sunday.
It's hot out there, and your inefficient windows mean high utility bills all year long. Window Nation sells some of the most energy-efficient windows you can buy and was recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free, plus 0 down and no interest or payments for 2 years. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule an in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's bow time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We've heard from players, right? Anonymous surveys about NFL teams from the players. We've heard from opposing executive and coaches. The NFLPA put on the players survey. ESPN tends to handle the executives, right? They get all the executives and coaches anonymously from other teams, and they ask questions and do rankings. Well, The Athletic decided to go straight to who matters most. The fans. And they decided to ask a bunch of questions about the Carolina Panthers of Panthers fans, and we have the responses. We thought we'd go over some of them with you. I thought this one was interesting. How optimistic are you that Dave Canales is the coach to get the Panthers back to the playoffs? They gave him 3 responses. Very, somewhat, not at all. 33% very, 56% somewhat, 10% not at all. And I encourage you all to check out the full survey on The Athletic, but I'll give you some of the results. Very, somewhat, not at all. I don't know what's going on in my producer's room right now, but I just peeked over there, and both Graham and our program director, Paul Ihander, were hitting me with like the dead stare.
But Paul was just telling me that he's going to fill my pockets a little bit more of some more shows I'm going to be filling in with you, so you just can't get with me.
There we go.
Can't get rid of me, Tim. And whenever Paul comes in, for intents and purposes, people, whenever Paul comes in here to relay a message to me, Tim like immediately looks in here like in his quarterback days, looking over to the sideline.
Well, I'm always thinking it's breaking
play
news.
Call.
Anytime anyone walks in there, I think somebody's running in with, did you see the tweet from Schefter? Or like, oh, did you see what Elliot Friedman said? So I'm always waiting for like and then once he goes over to his corner, I'm like, oh, okay, never mind.
If you didn't know, now you know. The people of Next Up, or the show programs of Next Up, the talent on Next Up, we're the pranksters of the programs that you hear. That's why we only get an hour. But as soon as I said that, I was like, Tim's looking at us like we're making him nervous or something. Paul goes, yeah, we should just look at him.
I just want to. Once I know you guys are just chatting and there's no breaking news, then I go back to what I was saying. But I always want to be prepared. Speaking of that creepy stare, and we'll get back to the Panthers stuff in a second. This past weekend, this is just a story of something that happened. This past weekend, I went to my parents' house. It was my dad's 65th birthday. So me and my son went down just for Saturday, Sunday, but we flew in late Friday. And it was a surprise. My dad didn't know we were coming. So we quietly went upstairs to the guest room. You know, there's no reason for my dad to go upstairs, so we were confident like we could wake up the next day and surprise him. My niece and nephew were there with my brother and his family. And my niece is 6, and I think they didn't really tell her very much that we were coming because they didn't want her to ruin the surprise. So she thought her parents were in the guest room that I was staying in. So we landed. We had some delays. We landed at like 1 o'clock at the Orlando airport, had to drive. So finally my son and I get to sleep at like 2. At like 3:30, I feel someone looking at me. My niece had gone into the room to find her parents, and when she didn't see her parents, she got kind of scared and just backed up against the wall. So now a little 6-year-old girl is in my room where I'm sleeping, backed up against the wall. It's pitch black, and I open my eyes, and I just see eyes.
The figures, yeah.
Looking at me.
It's straight out of a horror movie.
And to get even worse, she calls me Uncle Timmy. She just went, "Hi, Timmy."
Oh, no.
And I was like, "Ah!" Screamed middle of the night. She went running back to the room she was in. Eventually,
she's screaming. Your son's screaming.
No, my son slept through it all. Thank goodness. But that stare at the middle of the night, and then "Hi, Timmy." I was just screamed. Right, and I was like I didn't even once I like woke up, right, because that woke me up. Then I could put 2 and 2 together. That's who it was. All right, haha. We dealt with it, but that's the look I just got from Graham and Paul as I was, looking at this little survey in front of me. I glanced up in the producer's room, and both of them are just giving me that 3:30 in the morning, like ring little girl stare. And that's why I had to just stop and say something.
Well, Paul is our program director. He's always listening. It's kind of like a big brother. I'm kind of convinced he has access to the cameras too, so I'm always fearful to pick my nose in here. But Paul, now you know next time that you come in here to relay messages, I'll open the mic and you can just say, "Hi, Timmy."
Yeah. Hey, hi, Timmy. And I was like, "What?" And normally she calls me Uncle Timmy. She didn't even throw the uncle in there. So it was just in my delirious, like exhausted state enough to be like, "What?" But anyway, we did get to the bottom of that, and I got to the bottom of this one. That's the beauty of radio. I feel like in television you have to pretend like, no, and just keep reading from the teleprompter. In radio, if you guys are looking at me funny, I just go, "What's going on in there? What are you guys doing? What's going on in the producer's room?" Makes it much easier for me. All right, we have a few more minutes here. How optimistic are you that Dave Canales is the coach to get the Panthers to the playoffs? The 3 answers: very, somewhat, not at all. 56%, the leading answer, somewhat. You know what is underrated about these things? I sold radio advertising fresh out of college, went to a big conference where they taught me how to do it, had to get certified. You know what they always said? If you give somebody 3 options, they choose the middle option. Just human nature, right? So the way they described it to us as selling radio ads was whichever, as a radio account executive, you're going to have an idea of what's best for the company. Put that one in the middle and call it standard.
Okay.
Then give them an option that's going to cost twice as much and call it deluxe. And then give them an option that's going to cost 75% as much and call it basic. And just about everybody, they'll hem and they'll haul, and then they'll pick the standard, right? They'll pick the one in the middle. So giving people answers, the possibility of like very, somewhat, not at all, I think there's some kind of human nature that's going to drive you towards somewhat. Because saying very makes you seem like, oh, yeah, like, oh, they're going to be there this year.
You're just as optimistic as Dave Canales is running around Bank of America Stadium.
And not at all just makes you feel like you are like Eeyore, like, poo. And somewhat makes you feel like you're like the level-headed one, right? That it's just like if you're buying radio advertising, you're like deluxe. Oh, I'm not. We don't need to spend deluxe. That sounds like too much. Basic. Oh, but we're better than basic. Standard. Yeah, that's what we need. Standard. It's. I think more people would have said very if it were like fill in your own answer. Right? Or if there were 10 options, I think more would have said very. I think people are optimistic about this new group. When will the Panthers reach the playoffs again is another answer. And they gave them 4 options this time.
Okay.
This season, 2 years, 3 years, 4 or more years. The leading answer, 2 years.
All right. I'm surprised at that. I'm kind of.
Second leading answer, 3 years.
Yeah, I would say 3 years.
Lowest answer this season. That's fair. I think it's 3 at the earliest. No, 2 at the earliest, 3 most likely. I'd be more surprised if it could be 5. I'm not. They're in a bad place right now.
Right.
The talent on the roster is depleted. They can recoup it. And in the NFL, there is a worst to first every single year in a division. Somebody goes from worst to first every single year in a division. But usually those teams have a better bedrock. They have something. I don't know if the Panthers have that foundation set yet. Right? A lot of times a team's in last, but they have the good bones, right? The good offensive line, good running game, and then they draft a quarterback or something and they vault up. I don't know if the Panthers have much to lean on. You know what I mean? So the improvements they made are big, but they're still improving on what was a pretty rough situation. Which rookie do you think will have the biggest impact? Xavier Legette, Jonathan Brooks, Tevin Wallace, linebacker, Jatavian Sanders, tight end, or Chow Smith-Wade, cornerback? Number 1 answer, Xavier Legette. Number 2, Jonathan Brooks. Number 3, Jatavian Sanders. The other 2 are both less than 3%. That's an opportunity thing. The 3 offensive players are the 3 leading vote getters. The 2 defensive players are the 2 barely registered any votes. It's because the defense was good last year. They have a bunch of veterans on the defense. Offense, it's somebody's going to have to catch the ball. DJ Chark is gone, right? Somebody's going to have to take those reps. So I don't even think that it says as much about the players as it does about what else is around them on the roster. Let's see if we get to one more. How many yards will Bryce Young throw for this season? Leading vote getter, between 3,000 and 3,499 yards.
He didn't even reach 3,000 yards last year, correct?
He averaged very, very few passing yards last year. I would almost measure success at 3,400 yards. If it gets to 34 or more, I think that's success. So you can be in that band, but I think hopefully he gets over 3,500. That shows improvement is happening. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, about to come to a close. But don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow. Round out your week, me and Graham, at 3 o'clock for more of The Drive. And we're not really going anywhere here on your airwaves because our voices will stick around for Overdrive as we dive back into some Panthers conversations, headlined by a comment from Baker Mayfield on what Bryce Young can get from Dave Canales. That's going to start off Overdrive. We also have a debate about which stadium is the best in the triangle in college football. That will follow. So follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. We have some cool stuff happening on the YouTube. But also, subscribe, and share while you're there. Overdrive is coming up next. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
On a day after skiings. Did I do it right, Smalls? I'm trying to do it. No, I'm trying to do it right. You got to do it.
It wasn't that bad.
Thank you.
It wasn't that bad.
Skiings. Come on, Smalls.
You didn't have to do it twice, though.
Okay.
You did it once. I let you get away with it. I said it was okay. You tried to do it twice. Moderation, Evan.
Skiings.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Is your heating and air system ready for hot weather? Call Newcomb & Company today to schedule a routine maintenance and ensure your system is operating at peak performance. Become a Comfort Contract customer to receive priority service and a 15% discount on service calls and repairs for HVAC and plumbing work. Newcomb & Company has served the area as a Carrier Factory authorized dealer for more than 3 generations. Turn to the experts today. Call 919-862-3000 or find us at newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company and Carrier. Your comfort is our business.
An orthopedic surgeon makes understanding pain painless.
It's the biggest frustration that patients have.
This is Dr. Pamela Mehta talking about aches with unexpected origins.
I see patients with pain in their knees, their hips, their back. Oftentimes, the pain is actually coming from their feet.
Bet they aren't expecting to hear that.
Those patients are super surprised. They can't believe that the pain in their knee isn't coming from actually inside the knee. But if you think about it, the feet are the base to your whole body.
That's why she suggests personally fit arch supports. Emphasis on the personal fit.
If you get something basing it just on your shoe size, it isn't going to fit you properly.
And if it